with news out today and yesterday and the day before that Tottenham are pitching and twisting their interest in new left-sided centre-backs. We're going to start reviewing the new options at left side, whether it be Koulibaly even, whether it be Ndicka or whether it be Hincapie, plus plenty more transfer news, views and clues on this wonderfully cooler Sunday, Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to everyone. This is the Spurs Talk Show, and it starts, ladies and gentlemen, it starts right now. Lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, Matt Doherty! Oh, you shite! There could be from the dead to the don't fuck it up now, don't fuck it up! Go and win it! Let's go! Last chance! Stephen Bergwijn through! Win it, Stephen! Come on! Yes! He's won it! He's gonna win it! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh! We did it! Welcome! It is Sunday, a Father's Day Sunday. It is the 2022 version of June the 19th. And you're back here with me, Sean Butler, at the Spurs Talk Show. Hashtag, all one word, hashtag, no spaces. How's everybody doing? It's been a couple of days since I saw you last. There wasn't that much to talk about, but then there was. And I was busy last night in a poker tournament, so I couldn't go live. So now we're doing it this morning instead. I might be late, but I'll never be never. How's everybody doing? It is a much cooler, wonderful day where I'm not sweating. I'm probably still sweating somewhat. Yeah, somewhat. But we got a nice little team today to go through the latest news, views, and transfer clues for both Tottenham and indirectly some of the top 4, top 6 rivals that we find ourselves having to consider. There's a little bit of movement. There's always a little bit of movement. And this is why, while all the players are away on their 2-weeker, the internationals are finished. Now they get their 2-weeker. So I was expecting to have a little bit of a breather because nothing really gets done. But the transfer rumour mill never stops turning. And so we're not going to be live. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who is in the background. There's 66 people live already on this Sunday. Happy Father's Day to everyone who is a father. Happy Sunday to everyone who is alive, regardless of your family situation. I hope everyone's doing okay. Before we come to see who's in the chat, we're going to see who's in the background. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who is number 1 off the block today. Let's get to the guest selection.
All right, next contestant, spin the wheel again, please.
and gentlemen, I need to update the guest selection. There's been loads more guests selected ever since I made that. And not everybody who's been a guest is represented. And I'm all about fair representation and equality. It's about as far as my work goes. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, right over from across the Irish Sea, my man, the guy who flirts surreptitiously with all the celebrities in the nicest parts of the Emerald Isle. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, my man, Adam William Cahill.
Well, that's a story, Sean. How you getting on, buddy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. How you doing?
No, fantastic. It's a lovely Sunday, and as always, it's a pleasure to get invited on to talk Spurs with you, and I can't wait to get stuck into some transfer news. Some very exciting stuff, obviously. Even though things have swayed to a sort of a different tier, let's say, with regards to our striking options and our defensive options, it's still exciting stuff as far as I'm concerned. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, 100%. It does feel like maybe it's a little step, like a junior step downhill. Maybe because, certain teams and certain players are either too expensive or not interested in moving overseas, or consider Tottenham to still not be quite the worthwhile project that we hope to be. But we'll talk about that in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, stay there, Adam. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the show the second guest to walk us through what's happening on this beautiful Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, do we need to do it? Yeah, we'll do a guest selection one more time.
All right, next contestant, spin the wheel again, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know him as the man who used to be the man who had the audacity to put numbers in his name, and he's still that man, although I don't feel like it's no longer audacious because I've been corrected on the amount of times people put numbers in their name. Let's just call him. He's back. I can see he's typing away furiously. He's going to change his name just before I bring him in. Well, welcome to the show. It's Kuba99. Too late, Kuba.
Yeah, got to each time. Always love the intro though. It's just getting more and more long-winded each week.
Yeah. I never know where I'm going to go with it, but it's always something to do with numbers.
Good to see you again as well, Adam. Back again. We did this little lineup before, didn't we?
Absolutely, yeah. It's great to see you too, buddy. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
Kind of like the dynamic duo, but maybe brought down a level or two.
No, brought up a level.
No. I think the tepid trio. Does that work? Coming at you like a cup of tea and a biscuit.
I love it.
A Kit Kat. I like it. Yeah, I like it as well. Yeah. Fantastic way to introduce the three ball. There is maybe a fourth coming in from across the Emerald Isle. We won't talk about him just in case he doesn't make it. I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, but if he does come, it will be a lovely little perfect four ball to go hit around
the four horsemen.
The four horsemen of the transfer apocalypse. Ladies and gentlemen, let's find out who's in the house. JGR Mackie. I decided last time I said I was going to call you Make from now on. Mr. Make, how you doing? He says, hi, Sean. In my opinion, bring in either of them. I don't care because I know everyone wants Bastoni, but he clearly has his heart set at Inter, and I don't want to go in for him this window again. Just get a proper left-sided centre-back. When you say either of them, I'm presuming you're referring to either Ndicka or Hincapie, because there's a little bit of like, some people refer to Koulibaly as a central-sided centre-back, or he plays on the left of a back four. He can play, but if you look at his heat zone, his heat map, he spends most of his time on the left. So I do think he has the ability to play in the back three on the left or the centre, which gives us options. And that's why what we're going to do a little bit later on in the show when we go for the stats review. If you remember, guys, a couple of weeks ago, Kuba was part of the show then. Kuba and I started the ball rolling, and then Will joined us. We looked at FB refs and we compared 6 players, 5 of them that were targets, and then we compared them to Ben Davies. So we can do that again today. And given that Guardiola and Bastoni are looking a little bit like it's not going to happen, I'm swapping them out and one other and putting these fellas in to see how they stack up and compare. And I'll give you a clue. I haven't even looked at I've got it already, but I haven't looked at the data yet. So it's going to be fresh to everyone. as we go through it. So there's no presumptions or assumptions going to be made here. But good to see you, Mr. Mate. Hope you're okay, my man. Lastly, he says his centre-back options would be Ndicka, Koulibaly, Badiashile, Hincapie, or Aki. I don't know how you say Ake. I've never even heard of Aki. I've heard of Badiashile, but they're not linked with us. And
Ake is at Manchester City.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
From Bournemouth.
Oh, of course. Sorry. Of course. 100%. Yeah. Sorry. My bad. Being an idiot. Interesting. That's an interesting option. I don't think we'll ever get any business out of Manchester City, though. I don't think Manchester City would even answer the phone to Levy after they, they feel like Daniel Levy was completely out of order for not tolerating a bid of 60 million or whatever they put in for Harry Kane.
Don't think they'll answer after the anybody from the VAR room either when it comes to us.
Yeah. 100%. Guys, before we go any further, there's already 92 people in the house. It means the world. Sunday, to have this many people in. If you wouldn't mind, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't. We're on the march to 2,000. And for what it's worth, if you have subscribed before, can you check that you are still subscribed? Because there's a bit of like weirdness happening with my subscriber count. It got up to 1,640, and then all of a sudden it just dipped down to like 1,600. And I don't know if that's because 40 people suddenly thought at the same time, fuck Sean, get rid of that prick, don't like his content anymore, or whether YouTube has presumed that some things are spammy. I don't know what's happened, but I definitely lost like 40 subs overnight a few days ago. So I don't know why that would happen. So can you check if you are subscribed to resubscribe if you're not currently? Weirdest thing ever. But anyway, Adrian Schroker's in the house. Good afternoon, Mr. Adrian. I hope you're okay, mate. Derek Hutchinson's here too, saying good afternoon, Sean. Good afternoon. At Tabacron, Wembley is saying good afternoon, Sean. Hope you're well. The talk, unsurprisingly, is that the club is finding it difficult to move Ndombele on. Do you see any mileage possibility of one last chance for him at the club?
No.
It's an interesting conversation. Well, we definitely. I'm not sure. I think the answer will be probably no from all of us, but maybe let's star it and let's come back to it a bit later on. Nice little segue. If any of you guys do have interesting questions to ask, throw them in, and we'll star them and come to them at some point in the show. Stuart 727. Good afternoon, Sean. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, mate. How you doing? Lazy Eight's in the house. My man, Nicky boy. Happy Juneteenth, Shawnee. Happy Juneteenth to you, mate. I hope you're having a good time with your daughter. I'm not sure if you have more than one child. I think you only have one, but I could be wrong. I hope you're having a nice time with it, mate. Oh, is it Father's Day in America? I don't even know if it is. I'm not sure because Mother's Day is different. I'm not sure if Father's Day. I'm not sure. Once upon a time, little incidental story, and I lived in America. I completely forgot that Mother's Day had happened in the UK. Completely forgot. And then I spoke to my mum, she didn't mention it, but she didn't complain. And then I sent her flowers and everything over in like June when Mother's Day is in America. And, I got away with it initially, but then when I sent her the flowers latterly, it was the cat was out of the bag. And I don't know. Yeah. Fucking different dates. Just make it a universal
She's
thing.
still got a day of appreciation from you. That's all that matters.
100%. Ben Coffey's in the house. Welcome. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're okay, buddy. Mr. Numerals is here. Hello, Numerals. How you doing? Roman, if we are moving Stevie back to Holland, we should hijack the Lisandro Martinez move for our left-sided centre-back. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about that in a second because I've got both of those things on the list of things to talk about. Good to see you, Mr. Roman Numerals. Leslie Crawford's in the house saying Martinez wants to go to Arsenal. Let them have him. Oh, that's an interesting thing. There you go. Two different opinions already. Kelvin's in the house. Afternoon, lads. We got a new member, ladies and gentlemen. We got a new member. Welcome to the club. I'm not sure if you're a Spurs Talk Show pony or a Spurs Talk Show puppy, but either way, Mr. Cratch, I've seen you around now for a few shows, and I love you're very, very interesting with your takes. You're always calling Coover out. I love it. And you're brilliant, man. Welcome to the community, bro. And like I say, we're only about 5 or 6 members short now from having enough to go live with member phone-in shows. So I was expecting it to take until the new season for that to happen, but it's gone really quickly. We've only been doing this for 3 weeks, and we're up to 20 now. So if we can get a few more then I'll be accelerating and expediting the time to these new member phone-in shows, which I can't wait to do to get to know you guys individually. Big up, man! I really appreciate.
Tell you what, I love being called out. It's because makes you think about, are you right in your own opinion, and then you start discussing it. I've a great debate on something like that.
Yeah.
And between you come to sort of a logical sort of conclusion. It's fantastic. Keep going.
And by the way, Cooper, when I said he calls you out, he calls out me and everyone on the show, on the stream as well. I was just throwing it your way, but I love it, Cratch. I love it, mate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's. I think we're going to have to call you Cratch because I don't know how else to say it. But if that's okay with you, Mr. Cratch.
Yeah, it's nothing worse than having an echo chamber, is there?
No, at all.
Echo chambers are dangerous, mate. Appreciate your support. Tempest, Fugit, Fugit. Don't know what the name is. Absolute genius, though. And thanks for stopping by, bro. I haven't seen you before. Hopefully, you're a new subscriber. The artist formerly known as. He is. He is indeed. He is the symbol. Young Puddy's here. What's happening, Young Puddy? Let me see who else I said hello to. Oh, my man. Tottenham Gold. Dermatron. Did the show go? If the show's happening tonight, isn't it, Dermatron? We'll make sure everyone get over to Tottenham Gold at 8 p.m. tonight for their comeback special. Big Boss Man's in the house saying, sexy show, baby. Yeah. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, my friend. Polarized is in the house. Every stone I turn on Spurs channel. Oh, every stone I turn on Spurs channel. Coover is there. Yes, he is. Yeah, he's a highly sought after, in demand individual. And everyone loves him, which is why everyone wants him on the team.
Well, that's not true, but enough to.
No, it is true. No, that is true. 100% is true. Everyone loves him.
No, as you start getting, as you know it yourself, Sean, as you start getting more popular, the haters start creeping in. I always look at it as a compliment.
Yeah. Well, there's no hate there, is there?
Oh no, not in this case, no. But
no, yeah.
Have
you got some hate? Have you got some haters out there, Cooper?
Oh yeah.
Have you?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Can we talk about that? Can I start
that?
Can someone put in a comment just at the bottom to say, Cooper, tell us about the haters, and then I'll star it and we'll come to it later. Good afternoon, Lukey. What's happening, my friend? Nick Coys Hardiman, welcome, buddy. Haven't seen you before. Ndicka and Koulibaly bring on the corners. 100%, mate. We're going to talk about that. Good to see you, buddy. Derek Smith's in the house as well. That'll be it, Sean. I'm not sure what that means. Not sure. But I love you, man. Good to see you. And of course, Mr. William Cale's in the house. Who else haven't I said hello to? Stuart Conway's here saying, Cooper, big up the most popular guest on streaming. Easy to see why. Always good to listen to. There you go, mate. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Steve CK 072. He's talking to Cracks, but good to see you, my friend. Good to see Eddie Ryan too. Just putting a bid for Jesus just to piss the scum off. Love that, mate. Love that. Scotty's here, my number one member. Never forget you, my friend. I hope you're doing okay. Cody Mack's in the house. What's happening, Cody? Says Sean with the heart smileys. Hollywood Hotspurs here. Is that Phil? Is that Phil Latis? Or is that under a
different person, I think.
Good to see you, mate. Love waking up to some Spurs talk in LA. Oh, you're over there. Wow, man. That's awesome.
Literally Hollywood. Yeah.
Literally Hollywood. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. Eamon Burns is here as well, as is Shy. You haven't missed anything yet, mate. We're just getting into it. As is Joseph Monaghan saying hello. And listen, look at that. So we've got another new member. My man. Wowzers. Welcome to the show ponies or the show puppies, whichever one you chose. I really appreciate that support, my friend. We're 4 away now. 4 away from getting the show going. Eamon Burns. Who else we got? Terry Wright's in the house. Big up, gents. Big up, Terry. Alex Apostolou saying, afternoon, gents. I'd love Koulibaly. John Fitzpatrick's here. Hi, John. How are you, my friend? As is Joseph. As is Duncan. As is Danny. Is this Danny? Is that Danny Kiriaki? Has he changed his name to Danny? Because I know people keep saying he's changed his name in the chat.
different Danny, I think.
Okay. Good to see Danny. As is Paul. Claude Murphy's in the house. And so is Mr. Right Heart Lane. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Thank you, everyone. And I really do appreciate the new members. Let me star these so I don't forget to thank them at the end. Cratch and Hollywood Hotspur. But you guys, everyone's welcome. Everyone is appreciated. 130 people in the house. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell, then my job is done. And now we're going to turn over to these wonderful people Mr. Adam, Mr. Kuba, as we start the show. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the comparisons, I want to start the show by talking about a few tweets that have come out overnight over the last 24 hours. This doesn't affect us, apart from in the way that this was a player that a lot of people, Danny Kyriakou was a massive advocate of going after Raphinha he wanted him ahead of Jesus. He wanted him ahead of Koulibaly. Richarlison. He wanted him ahead of Sterling. He wanted him ahead of Martinez. He wanted him ahead of everybody. It looks like Raphinha has already been a long-term agreed target of Barcelona, and that all Barcelona have to do is to use a little bit of their newly found funding and pay the 55 million that Leeds want. Look, we won't spend too much time on this one, but Adam, I'll come to you first. Are you disappointed? Do you expect Barcelona, now that they've been broke as fuck for the last few months, and it's all about I think they've sold off half of their licensing, or sold off a segment of their future revenues from the members in order to get this big slice of the pie that they've seemed to have agreed now. So now that they've got the money to do what they want to do, I still don't understand how the fuck they can get away with the previous debts that they never paid off. But that's another conversation. Do you expect Raphinha to go to Leeds, and how upset would you be about either him not coming to Spurs, or would you be pleased that if he's not coming to Spurs, him going at least out of the league, so he's not going to be a threat to us next season?
No, I've been very similarly on the same boat as Danny Kyriakou. I've really enjoyed watching Raphinha. Really would have loved to have seen him come to Spurs. The only thing at the moment that's making me not disappointed in seeing a deal like that is, there's two things. Sorry. One is what you just mentioned. So he was very much linked with Liverpool and probably a couple of other teams as well. And it's great to see him not go to another Premier League side and, and enhance their squad for sure. But the other thing, and I don't want to jump the gun here and go down a direction that, is for later on in the show, but I do think that when you're talking about, what I would love to see is to have two forward players come in that allows us to have five front men, because we're going to lose Lucas Moura, I think, or we need to improve on him anyway. And we know Bergwijn's going out. So we need to have two more front men come in, and for the five of them to be able to rotate up the front. And what I would love to see is Richarlison and Antony. Now, I know Antony is still technically a long shot because he's in talks with Manchester United. He's probably closer to being linked with Manchester United, but we do have that. We've got more to offer Ajax in the sense that they're dying to get Steven Bergwijn in, right?
Yeah.
So if we use Bergwijn as a marketing chip, we use the Champions League as a marketing chip, and we use Antonio Conte as a marketing chip, I think we could steal Antony away. If we brought Antony in, I wouldn't be sad to see Raphinha go, because I think Antony is just as good, if not better, a more superior player to Raphinha. The only difference is that he's not Premier League proven the way Raphinha is. However, I do think that between his ability and just his everything that's he's got going, from being like Raphinha, he's a Brazilian attacker, plays for his national team. I think he has the qualities that, if we were to have him, he's also, not only is he a left-footed player who plays as a forward, he also can play as an attacking midfielder. We can have him play rotating anywhere in the front. If we were actually able to get him at a low price, because we have Bergwijn to use as a bargaining chip, and if we're able to wait till towards the end of the transfer window to get Richarlison from Everton, because they're in financial difficulty at the moment, and by the end of the transfer window he's going to be much cheaper than he is right now. I think that getting the two of them in would be absolutely astounding, and then it'd be like Raphinha who, do you know what I mean? So as long as we get someone in, because the fact is, again, we've got three positions at the front, we need at least five players to rotate, do you know what I mean? And if we got Antony as one of those, missing out on Raphinha wouldn't be a problem.
I'm trying to get his stats up, because we might as well go down the path. Whilst we're talking about him, we might as well go down the path. What are your thoughts on this one, Kuba? I love what you just said there, Adam. I think it was, look, there's always going to be opportunity cost. If you can't get Raphinha, where do you go instead? I'd be happy for him not to be at, if he wants to go, at least leave the league so that he's not a week in, week out threat. Because Raphinha really is that good. If he was put into a better team where he could show his talents and have to do a little bit less defensive work or that sort of thing, then I think that you'd have someone that could be a real threat. But also love the idea of Antony. First of all, gazumping Manchester United, and secondly, because Manchester United look like, and I'll talk about this later. I think that I genuinely think that Erik ten Hag doesn't have a fucking clue the size of the sandwich, the bite that he's chewed. He doesn't know what he's chewed off with that club. He's got horrible way with the press, and that is a recipe for disaster if you're managing Manchester United. And I'd love to see Manchester United even fall further from grace if they don't get their stuff done. So I'd love the idea of taking Antony as well from under their noses. Cooper, what are your thoughts, mate, on first of all Raphinha, and then secondly I'm going to pick up the stats, not Antony now, because I wasn't planning on talking about it, but we can go there, and Antony as well.
A lot of good points that Adam made there, and there's a lot of financial sense in waiting towards the end of the window because the price will drop. Everton will be more desperate to sell, get some revenue in, but it does go against what Conte wants, and that's having the core of the squad in place for the whole of pre-season. For that reason, I'll be against it. I'll prefer to pay a bit extra and get the player in early. The trouble with Raphinha for me is he's not versatile enough. And that's why I prefer the likes of Richarlison being mentioned, because he covers the whole of that front three. If Harry Kane gets injured, Raphinha coming in to cover him, you're not going to have a sort of direct ball sort of option with Raphinha in the team. It's going to be more sort of slow build up, get it into his feet in the box, really. Harry Kane's got that strength and height and the ability to hold the ball up. We need somebody that can do that. Richarlison ticks that box. Antony doesn't tick that box either. But again, I think I see Antony as a little bit more versatile. He's a little bit more able to play anywhere across the front three. Yep. He's got a great deal of unpredictability in his game. That is a huge thing to have. He's got the kind of skill set that can unlock the stubborn low block, because you just can't pick what's coming from him. I think there's a little bit about that with Jesus as well, who I'd also be happy with. Raphinha, I see a little bit more drifting towards purely the right-sided attack. I do like him when he's on form. He looks brilliant, looks world-class. But he's been a little bit irritatingly inconsistent for my liking. I could say that with Antony as well, if I'm totally honest. I think for me, it's still Richarlison is the one I'd like to see most out of all of them, even though, if it makes sense, I see the best game from Richarlison being less than the best game you get from the likes of Antony or Raphinha. I just think Richarlison has that steady sort of what's needed attribute to him. And as we were talking about before, he's got the bit of the devil in them. He's got the shithousery. Shithousery, all the feistiness to go with it. Unsettles teams, wins an awful lot of free kicks. People don't. I don't like all the let's call a spade as cheating when players are throwing themselves around. But if everybody else is doing it, you are gonna suffer if you don't do it yourselves as well. Everybody else gets an advantage that you don't have. So, unfortunately, it's part of the game, and he's good at it.
So, I don't watch too much of the Dutch league, I'll be honest, right? But I'd imagine that most people don't. So, I mean, the stats for me is all I've seen the highlights of him. Obviously, I've seen him in the Champions League, but he looks very much like someone. I mean, he looks like he's always someone that gets the ball, receives the ball well. He's very good with his carries, his possession. He's in top sort of 10 percentile for. He would. I guess is he more like a Lucas Moura kind of player? Because if you look at he's like a better version of Lucas Moura, and I'm speculating here. Tell me if I'm completely way off, because I'm not that familiar with Antony, but he's got
much better footwork, much better. Like Lucas Moura just pushes the ball way out in front of him, and he's fast enough to chase after it before any of the opposition do, or else he gets taken down, draws a lot of fouls. Antony will hold the ball. Antony will have the ball close to his feet. He can skillfully maneuver around players, dummy, do things that are way more intricate and way more takes way more technique and finesse than Lucas Moura has ever been capable of.
Yeah, he's got that sort of breathtaking move within him at any point. Yeah. There's a real wow factor for him. He's explosively exciting.
But is he someone that he basically has a lot of cracks, a lot of shots, right? And he's up there for shots and shots on target, but in terms of the success of them, not like, he's only hitting one. What is that per 90? So he scores a goal every 15 games. Oh no, sorry, goals per shot. Sorry, no, goals per game is different.
Goals per game, points rate, so a goal in every 3 games.
But for every shot that he takes, he doesn't. Most of them are not successful. Is that a fair comment?
You could argue the same with Harry Kane compared to some of the other strikers he gets compared with. Some players just thrive on their ability to actually create themselves that many chances. I just think he's one of these extremely confident young players that doesn't mind having a crack. And that's a good thing sometimes when your team's a bit shot shy, as we have been. Start peppering the goal a bit more. It's not a bad thing to do.
Yeah, not a bad thing at all.
Bit of everything to his game. I really like him.
And we've said we need the creativity to unlock the low block, and Antony could definitely provide that for sure.
Yeah, two things will definitely help against the low block, and that is having very attacking wing backs to get in behind players and stretch the opposition team, force them to pull out wide to deal with them, or get into the box, add in extra bodies there. The other one is the most difficult one. You've got to craft those chances. You've got to show a bit of guile. You've got to show a bit of flair, unpredictability, and Antony ticks all of those boxes for sure. Mm-hmm. Good player to have in the squad. I'd say Gabriel Jesus is also good for that.
Yeah. Jesus. We reviewed Jesus' stats against the likes of who was it the other day? We looked at him versus Richarlison versus 3 or 4 other players we were linked with, and then compared them to Lucas Moura and Richarlison. Emmanuel Dennis was one I think we looked at. I think we looked at Pookie for a split second before everyone told me to take him out. there was 5 or 6 players, and Gabriel Jesus was right at the very top for most of the things. So if Arsenal get Jesus, I think they're going to have a good player there. I still think that Emmanuel Dennis is the best pound for pound value for money in the Premiership proven category.
No doubt. Yeah.
This guy Antony might be also in Ajax, but a lot of players. I remember back in the day there was a player that was signed. I forget now. Back in the late 90s, Middlesbrough signed a player, a striker. Can you remember who it was, Kuva? And he scored like 55, 60 goals a season in the Dutch league. And he came over and he just was like, absolute wank.
Oh, which one was that?
Can you remember him? I can't remember who it was, but there was a player that, and he was like, who was it? Hang on.
You sure it was Middlesbrough?
I think it was definitely Middlesbrough. Yeah, definitely Middlesbrough.
I remember those seasons when they had like Brian Robson in charge, and they signed the white feather, old
Fabrizio Ravanelli.
Yeah, he did well for them.
He did well, but he wasn't coming from Holland. There was definitely a player. Someone in the comments who's got a better memory than me. Let me know who that player was. Middlesbrough signed someone from Holland who had
look it up now.
Who had an insane amount of goals per game or goals per season ratio, and he came into the Premier League and he absolutely struggled. But meanwhile, we'll move on. Big up, because Crack's going to call this up. Big up, Sean. I really like this channel, so subscribe to the Pony membership. Mate, I really appreciate that. I used to be a horse in online poker environment. Mate, I'm a massive online poker player as well. I lost a fortune last night on a really bad beat, so I'm a little bit salty about that. But and now you have your own stable full of ponies. Wow, that's quite the story. Can't wait to meet you, my friend. Can't wait to meet you when you come onto the show in a couple of weeks, hopefully, when we get going with that. All right, moving on to the next statement from Fabrizio Ravanelli. No, not Fabrizio Romano. It's in my head now. Arsenal plan to push again with Lisandro Martinez. We're just going to spend a little bit of time going through this other news, get it out of the way, and then we're going to focus on the purpose of the show, which is the left-sided centre-back, new options that we're talking about. He's top target for Arsenal, as revealed by David Ornstein. Ajax turned down a €30 million opening bid as they really hope to keep Lisandro, but it's been told the main priority for Edu these days is Gabriel Jesus. So, Lisandro Martinez. Adam, look, Arsenal are starting to make moves, right? Like before we had the Bissouma deal in place, we were looking at Arsenal and thinking, you're getting left behind. United's getting left behind. Chelsea can't get the Koundé deal over the line. And they're also going to be, because they're still restructuring, settling in with the new boy, Todd Boehly. Like, maybe it's going to take a little bit of time for them to get their transfer business done, which suits us because we're playing them second in the league before the window closes. But Arsenal seem to have kicked into gear in the last sort of 3 or 4 days. They obviously got the guy Vieira, who Arsenal fans are now comparing to the next Kevin De Bruyne, even though they've never even seen the guy play. It's hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. But they've also it looks like they're going to get Gabriel Jesus. They're also pushing for Lisandro Martinez. Lisandro Martinez is a fantastic player. Again, out of the Ajax team, plays at the left-sided centre-back role or plays in the middle of the back three. Someone that Tottenham could go after. And I think someone in the comments here also said we should gazump them for him as well. He's a good player. What are your thoughts on Lisandro Martinez?
It's very difficult for me to comment on him. Again, it's one of those things where, like, I definitely kept more of an eye on Antony because of the fact that he's a Brazilian player, and I've got a Brazilian girlfriend. I got other Brazilian family members now, so it's the national team is something to pay attention to. Martinez, not really all that sure about him, but the fact that he's not been on our radar until now, I think says an awful lot in terms of. You would okay. Well, it's one of two things, right? We know that there's a lot of smoke screening going on where Paratici is concerned, and so it's one of two things: either we're secretly going for him, the way that we were secretly going for Basuma, and that came out of nowhere. So we could be secretly going for him, and he could be an option. At which point, I'm sure that they'll make the push, and we're definitely a more tasty prospect than Arsenal are. Or we're not going after him, and there's a reason for that. For some reason, he's not someone that's of interest to Paratici, not of interest to Conte, and maybe it's because the likes of the players that we're going to talk about later on again, Ndicka and Koulibaly and stuff like that, it may just be more of a tastier prospect for the manager and the director. Again, what we mentioned a little bit earlier is that or maybe we did it before we went live. I'm not sure. We were talking about how we've slightly changed we've of course corrected in terms of the tier that we're going for in terms of the centre backs. Yeah,
we were talking about that before the show. So I love what you were saying with it. So run with it now. Go for it.
Yeah, so the fact is, we were going for the likes of Bastoni, Gvardiol, the ones that you're thinking are like the biggest fish in the sea right now, and it looks as though if with those two being unavailable for this reason or that, and nothing to do with having any sort of disdain for Tottenham, it looks as though we're moving to another tier. I get the impression that since like most of us are not overly familiar with Martinez the way we would be with the Koulibaly, the way we would have been with a Pau Torres, Longley, perhaps it's just that that would be I'd be worried that would be a step too far down when Koulibaly is still potentially an option, and so like I wouldn't be. Yes, Arsenal are doing a little bit of work now in the transfer window, but I think it's still they're operating on their level and we're operating on our level, and I think that we have to not worry when Arsenal are bringing in unproven players that they're making a holy show of, but that are not really Premier League proven. Do you know what I mean? Like them getting Vieira and us getting Basuma, I'm sorry, we completely gazumped them in terms of the best signing so far. So I wouldn't be overly concerned with whoever it is that Arsenal are going for. Again, even with the as Fabrizio pointed out in that tweet, even going after Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus is not a player that I'd want. Honestly, I'd much rather have Richarlison. I'd much rather have Antony. So I mean, like I'm not as much as of course Arsenal are going to try and improve on the team they had last year. They don't want us to push away too much, but I think we have far too much to offer compared to them to be overly concerned with their transfer window. Yeah,
Kelvin Fletcher agrees. He's saying their signings so far nothing to be worried about at all. Well said, Adam. Completely agree, Kelvin. Kobe Groove. I'll let you go with this where you want. Are you slightly concerned about Arsenal? Are they looking like they're making waves, or are you like, not interested? And also, last question I'm going to ask you before I let you go is because Lisandro Martinez obviously plays for Ajax, again, one of Erik Ten Hag's old, students. right? So, and Manchester United need a centre back. They might not need a left-sided in the back. They don't play in the back three. They play with the back four, but they don't want to have the same centre backs they've got at the moment. Last season, Harry Maguire, there's noise that he wants to be. They want to move him on, or at least try and recoup some money or something. Do you think, Man United are maybe going to go in and get Lisandro Martinez? Erik ten Hag seems to only be interested right now in players, apart from De Jong, players that are coming out of Ajax. So, what do you think of Lisandro Martinez first of all, and where do you see him ending up?
Player I've seen quite a lot of because I do watch Ajax on a regular basis. That's kind of my second team. He's a good footballer. I'm not worried about him going to Arsenal in the slightest. I'll be happy with him coming here because he's in that mould of the traditional Ajax profile. He can play football. He's good with the ball at his feet. Doesn't get flustered under pressure. Bit versatile. He's more than capable of going to play left back as well. A little bit of the sort of Yang Vertonghen theme in that respect, but I wouldn't say he's as good as Vertonghen in the air. Certainly, he's not the powerhouse defender. He's more of a sort of footballing defender. And the why I'm not worried about anything Arsenal are doing is because they've been lacking any real bite in their team for a long time. And that's why they were all big up about getting Basuma. And it didn't happen. And it still hasn't happened. Yeah. The powder puff. And they got a Lego manager that's out of his depth. And still doing a process that still isn't going anywhere. Don't have to worry about them at all. If anything, they're going to fall away further than 5th place.
Wow. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Yeah, just can't see it.
There's a lot of teams that are going to be difficult to beat this season, Kuba, right? Aston Villa making moves. West Ham look like they're making moves. West Ham are just about to sign. I forget the guy's name. I can bring it up if we need to talk about him, but we don't really want to talk about them. But they've just signed someone for 30 million quid. Very, very highly rated guy. I can't remember even his name, but West Ham could be trying to make
West Ham.
No, I know, but what I mean is that kind of also ran pack. If we're going to put Man United in the also ran pack, Arsenal in the also ran pack, you've got Aston Villa that are going to try and get into the also rans. West Ham trying to improve. Newcastle are going to try and improve. Who knows what's going to happen to Leicester? I personally think Leicester are going to be, the Everton of next season. But to your point, Kuba, like maybe West Ham, maybe Arsenal are going to fall back down the pecking order because other teams that have got more stability in their leadership. Villa have got Steven Gerrard. He's got a plan. He's got energy behind him, a fan base that's invigorated and galvanized. Villa could be. I know Bob Spur thinks that Villa are an outside chance for top 4 or at least Europa League this season, right? So, Arsenal need more than just good players. They need to have a philosophy and a leadership structure that is, powerful, engaging, and I don't think they have that with Arteta. Do you agree?
Process, mate. So they are one of the also rans. They would give me king of the also rans. Big up Gooners. I've got no concern about them whatsoever. They're going nowhere in a hurry. Absolutely nowhere. Newcastle, on the other hand, I'll be worried about them in a couple of seasons. Might be a season too early for them this time round. Yeah, but they're going to be knocking on the door very soon.
They'll be 10th, 9th, 8th, somewhere around there, won't they? They won't quite make it. They might. Who knows, right? They might get 6th or 7th.
They'll be aiming at top 6 this season.
I think Newcastle will be 8th or above, like for sure.
Really?
This time round,
They're definitely aiming for top 6. I think they'll have had a failing season if they get any less than that. Because let's look at what happened this last season. Even Chelsea fell away. There's Manchester City and Liverpool this last season. Everybody else really wasn't that good, us included. The difference between the likes of us and those others is we had a pretty horrendous start under Nuno. Yeah. And then Conte had trouble at first, and then we built momentum. And we finished off the season strongly. And we look like we're improving on that. The likes of Basuma, great signing. The others... I'm not worried about any of those signings at all. I know Conte isn't going to be thinking, Arsenal will be a threat next season. He's looking up and looking at Manchester City and thinking, what do we need to do to get above them? It's
And what do you think we need to do to get above them?
signing players like Basuma, signing players like Perisic, getting sheer quality into the team in positions that need it. So far, we seem to be doing that. I am really, really excited about what's happened so far. The fact we're having the little lull in transfer activity for a couple of days and we're all going,
yeah, I know. We're spoiled. Well, usually we have to wait until August to start. Like
the next one will come in pretty quickly, and I'm sure of it. And then it'll be
who's the next cab off the rank? Who's going to be in next?
Christian Eriksen.
Or do you think the next transfer from Tottenham is a player out?
Well, that's the trouble. Are we going to behave in the way we always have done and need to shift players out before we get some in? Or are we going to be Billy Big Bollocks and just bring the players in, then worry about cleaning out the dross? I think we're going to just keep getting the players in when they're available. It might be we can't get a Bastoni this season. Okay, just wait a year, see what happens then. It might be we can't get a Gvardiol. He's just too expensive at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. I'm not worried about the centre-back position because if you look around, there are actually a lot of players, very good players that do fit these positions we want. It's just they might not be the household name that a lot of fans will be crying out for. I mean, of course, I'm a massive Bastoni fan. I'll be absolutely creaming myself if we got him.
Yeah.
But there are others about, and Ndicka, who we're linked with just now, the Frankfurt player. Another one fits the bill perfectly.
Let's not talk about him too much right now because we've got a whole section on him coming up in a little while.
But yeah, let's not worry about what others are doing at all. Look at what our squad is doing. Look at the additions we're making. They're exactly right in positions that we needed strengthening, and I do believe we will carry on with that theme right the way through the summer. By the time pre-season starts, we are going to have a formidable looking first 11. We're still going to need to strengthen to get the whole squad up to scratch to consistently compete on every front. But I think the first 11 is going to be looking pretty damn tidy. And Arsenal are not going to be competing with it. I don't even see Chelsea as being relevant this next season. Not unless they pull off some major signings. They were falling apart last season. If Conte had been there from the start of the season, we would have finished comfortably ahead of them.
And there's already speculation that Thomas Tuchel and Todd Boehly are falling out because they've missed out on Kunde, or you want to say it, he got injured, and then Chelsea were like, well, maybe we'll step back, and then Barcelona have come in and gone, we'll take you injured, whatever, we'll take the risk on, right? And Chelsea have already lost Christensen, already lost
Rudiger,
Azpilicueta, right? And it looks like who's the fellow in the midfield? Not Torres. My mind's gone blank.
What Chelsea?
Yeah, Chelsea's midfielder wants out as well. I forget who it is. Don't worry, we'll move on. Doesn't matter.
Right.
My point being that Chelsea. I agree with you. Chelsea looked like their transfer window that they thought was going to be Kunde to start with before they moved on. That's fallen apart as well. So I agree with you that Chelsea are just like behind the 8 ball a little bit. Because they're late to the game, and Tottenham and other teams are starting to make moves. Adam, where do you think is going to be the next? Well, first of all, you can run with what Kubic has said and go wherever you want with it. But also, I want you to include, do you see the next cab off the rank in the Tottenham transfer window a player out? Because last night, and I'll just drop this in just quickly, but Fabrizio Romano again quoted Steven Bergwijn deal between Ajax and Tottenham is absolutely on. All parties are in contact. It's not fully agreed yet. And the Bergwijn Ajax's priority is Bergwijn since January. Tottenham's still able to sell at their conditions. Obviously, it's probably just a monetary, a numbers thing. And maybe the Antony story has some legs to it. Maybe it doesn't. But do you see that happening before Tottenham go and finalise a Christian Eriksen or one of these deals that is a bit more complicated for a left-sided centre-back? Obviously, we're going to talk about that stuff in detail in a couple of minutes. Where do you see the next Tottenham transfer story going?
So first of all, I will say, as far as picking up on Kuva, what Kuva was saying, I completely agree with everything that's being said. The only thing I would add, though, is I don't think that Conte is looking to have just an extra special 11 this season compared to last season. He's looking for strength in depth as well. We're going to have all the players that he's bringing in they'll be every single one of them will be players that he's looking to rotate. There's a quote here I got it from Alistair Gold, where he said Conte wants to get the idea out of his Tottenham squad's heads that there is a set starting 11. He wants a squad of players all capable of pushing each other and performing when called upon. So it's not about having like a starting a set starting 11. It's about having a massive roster of amazing players and being able to rotate them as needed. So I think that's something that's really important to remember. When it comes to like, we're not this whole, I think this whole philosophy of one out, one in it is gone. And we know that for the fact that we haven't lost any players yet and we've brought in 3. Do you know what I mean? Now, I know 2 of those were free transfers, but again, keep the free transfers coming. Now, as far as the ins and outs, and what's coming next, I think by next weekend we could probably have Christian Eriksen and Spence in, to be honest. And I think it's far more likely for those to happen than for us to have any outgoings at the moment, only for the fact that the outgoings are almost certainly going to be tied in very much with other players coming in, because it's almost going to be most of the players that are looking to go out so far. It looks as though they're going to be involved in swap deals. Swap deals are probably more complicated than the direct player for cash deals, and certainly it's more complicated than I thought would be out of my head. No, player for cash, and it's certainly more complicated than getting someone in a free transfer. The free transfer obviously is the easiest deal. All you got to do is sort out the player wages. So when you have Christian Eriksen, once he's made up his decision what he wants to do, and to be fair, like, let's be honest, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? He's saying consistently, apparently, that he wants to be in London. He is saying that it's not an absolute, it's not something that he has his heart set on, but he does, of course, want Champions League football. He's not going to stay at Brentford. He's not going to Manchester United because he wants to stay in London. It's a no-brainer to come back to Spurs. So the easiest deal that we could get done right now is the Christian Eriksen done by the end by next weekend. I think that it's far more likely for us to get that under wraps than anything else. And then I think the Jed Spence one, because of the price is so low. Do you know what I mean? He's a championship player, albeit a great one. I think it's far more likely for us to get those deals done than for us to get players out that are going to be connected with the Harry Winks. Dying to get him out. He's definitely gone this season, thank God. But it may be involved in bringing a Richarlison into the club deal, which means that's a bit more complicated. And the same with Bergwijn going to Ajax. It may be involved in a Antony to Spurs deal. So because of those complications, I think that with a couple of more incomings and specifically Eriksen and Spence are far more likely to happen, and it could happen by next weekend, to be honest.
Absolutely right with everything you said there, Adam. I think Conte, well, not think, I know Conte wants to have that squad of, say, it's something he had in common with Mourinho, talking about having 18 players ready for that first thing. The thing is, from my point of view, and a lot of the rest of us, you look at the squad we got now, and I'd say, how many of those players do we currently have that would be in an 18 that's going to be challenging for Premiership titles and Champions League? We've got to aim at Champions League as well. Why not? That's what we're in the business of doing, trying to win these games. How many of the current lot get there? I'd say you put hard push to get 8 or 9, really.
Yeah.
So we're talking about 10 players in to have that full squad. It's surely not going to happen in one transfer window.
Are you including the new boys that we got in with regards to Perisic?
Yeah, I love that.
I'd say there's more than 8. Because we've got our front 3, right? Obviously, like Son, Kane, and Kulusevski picked themselves. Yep. Then you've got Basuma.
Well, hopefully they don't pick themselves by the start of next season. Hopefully we have enough players.
True. But what we have at the moment, do we have more than 8 players that are like part of the essential? So you need 11 plus 5 realistically. You need 16, not 18 really. When you think about, we got five coming off the bench and 11 starters, right?
Excluding
and you can rotate them. Yeah. Excluding injuries, yeah, for sure. But do we have more than 8? So we got Kulusevski, Son, Kane. We've got Basuma in now. We've got Perisic. We've got Lloris, Romero. I would say I would include Bentancur in that as well. I think he's
at the moment,
right.
Yeah.
Would you include Højbjerg?
I fucking love Højbjerg. Højbjerg for me.
I think Højbjerg's good enough as a squad player for challenging for it. Yeah,
it'll certainly be on. If he's not in the starting lineup, he'll be on the bench and would come on, as and when necessary. And I've got no problem with him.
Absolutely.
I will never be afraid.
Yeah.
And think, oh no, Højbjerg's coming on. That's never going to be a thought that goes through my head. So,
and as things stand, we still have Bergwijn, and if we actually played him more, he deserves to be in the squad and get played far more often than he does. I know he doesn't seem to have the interest of Conte, but I'd happily keep Bergwijn if Conte was willing to play him more.
So you've basically listed out the 8 that I had in mind.
That's 10.
With Højbjerg, say I've got him as an iffy.
Okay.
He could be, and Bergwijn no.
Okay.
So we're not far off anyway. It's
so
still
Dyer,
an awful lot of players to come in.
Dyer and Davies, but we're all agreed Dyer and Davies can we still want them in
squad players.
Tottenham Hotspur next season.
Yeah.
Squad players for next season, maybe not the season after though. We might be moving on by that point.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We'll do one season at a time. Listen, I've just started this comment because I think this is fucking brilliant, and it's given me an idea. I'm actually from now on, I'm gonna star comments that I think are absolutely fantastic. Just to mention them at the start, not to necessarily talk about them too much, but I'm going to bring in a comment of the week, and I'm going to make a little jingle for it because I think this is, or jingle of the show, comment of the show. I think this is a fantastic thing from Stuart Conway. I love it. I want to not to be able to predict the starting 11 on a match day.
Yeah,
right. I love
That's
that. For us, for most of this season, every channel, we are Tottenham TV, Irish Hotspur. This channel, every channel that we go on, that I go on or watch when we're doing the previews, it's the starting 11, and it basically picks itself depending on injuries, right? The midfield always picked itself second half of the season. The attacking line always picked itself. The goalie picked itself. There was only ever one player here or there where it was should we have him or should we have him? But that's because of the problem we had. I love Stuart's point here. Like if I want a team where every single week the starting 11, the preview is a conversation piece rather than a formality.
I will have a little bit of a cry every time Son is not on the starting 11 team sheet, though. I'm going to be honest. I'll have a little bit of a whinge to myself for 5 minutes.
Wouldn't it be amazing? Wouldn't it be amazing if that's actually a conversation to have? No, with any Son, no, let's give Son a breather. Let's bring in Martinez, or let's bring in Richarlison, or whoever it ends up being. Right?
When we're playing Bournemouth, okay, no problem.
Yeah. For me, the only time that whole starting 11 thing is even a conversation is when we're playing Morecambe in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
I think it's a great comment, Stuart. I'm going to go and make a little jingle for comment of the week.
It's a bit of a controversial one, that, isn't it? Son in particular. Yeah, I mean, and you're saying, do you want that as a conversation? You want that as a conversation thing. I'll love you, mate, but I worry about your viewing figures, and I'm just going to say, shut up, mate.
No, but it'd be great if we got to a point. If we could be in a position where we go and sign someone, whoever it's going to be. If we go and sign an Emmanuel Dennis, who's my first choice, I don't ever want to see us playing Man City and thinking that Emmanuel Dennis is ahead of Sonny. Of course, there's still going to be regulars in the team, but
it's kind of the same point, but it's a different sort of slant on it. It would be nice just to get to the point with saying, "Oh, you know what? Basuma's injured today. Who have we got coming in?" And you don't instantly go, "Oh."
Yeah, exactly. No, but let's presume, right? Let's presume that there's no injuries, and on in the fifth game of the season, I forget if it's Nottingham Forest. I think we've got Nottingham Forest on the fifth game of the season from memory, fourth or fifth game, and it's away at Forest, right? If we're playing 3-4-3 and there's no injuries at that stage in the season, there is a conversation to be had about, do you want to see Bissouma and Højbjerg? Do you want to see Skippy and Bissouma? Do you want to see Bentancur and Højbjerg? Do you want to see Bissouma and... You know what I mean? Like there's already a conversation there. When all four of those are fit, there's a conversation. For the most part of this season, especially in the second half of the season, it's been, please for fuck's sake, avoid any injuries, because next week we've got Chelsea and we need to have Bentancur and Højbjerg fit. Like that's been the state of it since Skippy was out. So for me, I want that conversation, that depth, to be able to be had at right wing back, at left wing back, And so that's how I see it.
I weirdly go the other way with that. I'd like to think that injuries aside, and players assuming they're all fit and fresh and raring to go, I'd like to think we have such identity in the team that you do know what the first 11 is. But you've also got the players in reserve who are of the quality and attitude that they're going to be looking at all times to try and force their way into that first 11. Yeah. So you could have the likes of Benton. The obvious one for me will be, the starting sort of pivot for us will be Bentancur and Basuma next season. Højbjerg's sort of slightly behind on the pecking order for me with the arrival of Basuma. But Højbjerg has the kind of character. He won't let that lie. He will be trying to force his way back in. First opportunity arises, he comes in and he's off playing a blinder. Then it's up to the other player to force their way back in, because Højbjerg has then made himself there part of that first 11 on merit by performances. So it's kind of the same point. It's like just a different slant on how to look at it. Instead of guesswork, I'd like to see identity with the team.
Yeah, I take your point. There's certain players in the Man City team that always have their spot if they're fit and if they're needed, right? And Kevin De Bruyne, perfect example. If they're playing in a big game and he's fit, he's always there. And I'm very confident that whatever happens for when we need the best 11 out there, there's certain players that are always going to be there, and that's going to be Romero, Sonny, Kane, and Hugo, right? But I do think that we'll figure out over time. Skippy, at the moment, I don't think anyone's going to say that Skippy is a fully fit. Skippy is necessarily ready to take over the spot from Bentancur or Basuma. On paper, we probably think, maybe you disagree, but you probably think that the best two would, in terms of quality, would be Basuma and Bentancur, right? Or Basuma and Højbjerg. Basuma probably does come straight into that first 11, right? But Skippy is like a high growth stock. His price is cheap right now, but he's on a big trajectory. And if he can get back into the same routine that he was doing in the that period of the season when he had his chance before the injury hit, who knows what that guy? His ceiling is way up here. In a couple of years' time, he could be far better than Basuma. He could be far better than Bentancur or Højbjerg.
But I think when you're looking at the four of them, I don't think that because they're a very specific style of player each. That it's not a case of pairing any two of them together. I think very much like Basuma is your defensive midfielder, and I think that the Skippy is a defensive midfielder, whereas I think that Højbjerg and Bentancur have the ability to be more progressive. So with those four that we have at the moment, although Højbjerg and Bentancur were the two at the end of last season, I think that those two will compete for the same position, and I think that it'll be Skip and Basuma be rotating, and mostly Basuma will be getting most of the games, especially as Skip's only coming back from injury. Basuma almost makes the team sheet every single time. And I think Højbjerg and Bentancur are going to be battling it out as the more progressive of the centre mids.
Okay,
interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I love it. Could be right.
I wouldn't play. For example, you don't play Skip and Basuma together. I think I can't see it happening. They're both incredibly defensive. Basuma can go forward, but he still plays more of a defensive role. And every now and again, he makes a dash, bullets his way through. But he isn't that playmaker. Højbjerg can be, and Bentancur can be. Yeah,
Bentancur can be. Yeah, I agree.
I think with Skip, though, the two things with him at the moment is, firstly, he just needs to get himself fully fit. Yeah, because that's a battle enough by itself.
It was a weird injury as well, wasn't it, Kuba? Even the docs at Tottenham couldn't figure it out for the longest time what was wrong with him.
Yeah, that's a real worry. But if he does get his fitness back and he's still, it hasn't affected him in the long term, I think we could have any kind of midfielder with Skip. I think he's just he can develop into any kind of these roles. I appreciate what you're saying, Adam. He's like a defensively minded one, because that's generally been the kind of role we've wanted from him.
But it's also his skill set. His tackling is absolutely second to none. That guy, I've said it before on another channel. Skip is the kind of guy who could be chasing back someone, chasing after someone who's further ahead of him, heading towards our own goal. He'll put in a sliding tackle directly from behind, get the ball, not cause a foul, You know what I mean? And then start heading back the other direction. His tackles are second to none. That's a full-on defensive midfielder. And he's able to ping the long balls as well, which you do from further back, you do from deep. So I just feel like he is that. He's definitely going to be more often than not playing kind of the deeper central midfield role.
I love it. Love it. I love the difference of opinion here. It's brilliant. It's what makes the world go round. I do think what we're going to find, though, if we can find one or two centre backs to come into the squad, like Bissouma's been added, and if we can go and get one of the players that we're about to talk about in just a moment's time. Before we do, Chris Agomba's making a really good point. Big up, Chris. I hope you're well, my friend. Thanks for saying this. 238 people are watching and only 81 likes. Please, guys, just tap the like button. Just tap it. Don't ask for much. But please hit it. It would mean the world to me, and it means the world to the algorithm. I'm loving life with the Spurs community. It's been a wonderful experience so far. I've only been going for 5 months. We're on the march to 2,000. It's just around the corner, and I'd love it if you guys could hit the subscribe button. Also, 55% of people that watch the shows regularly, that come back, that are return viewers, are still unsubscribed. So. It costs you nothing. Just hit the subscribe. You haven't even got to watch it after you subscribe, but it just means the world for the algorithm, and that would be everything to me. So appreciate your support, guys. Please hit the like and the subscribe button. All right, next one on the list is we're starting to move now into the world of what this whole point was about. My friends and colleagues from We Are Tottenham TV, I grabbed their tweet as it kind of summarized the general shift in what's happening here. They say they understand that Spurs are currently negotiating with Eintracht Frankfurt for Evan Ndicka. Ndicka, I'm not sure how you say his last name. What you said it? How did you say it earlier, Kuba?
Sorry, Ndicka.
Ndicka. Okay, Ndicka. Also hearing he has emerged as one of the top targets as of now for the left-sided centre-back role, as it's believed that the deals for Bastoni and Gvardiol look impossible. Not necessarily our current number one option, though. And before that, I just want to bring in a couple, before we move into these, to Ndicka, there's a couple other things here. So Football Confidential, I think they're just a nobody channel, but they have tweeted something which caught my attention. And I went back and found it. So Tottenham are interested in signing Napoli's Kalidou Koulibaly, which is one of the guys we're going to review in a moment. And Conte, this is something he said. I've got it here. Oh, wait a minute. I need to show you share my screen for a second. Where do I go from here? Here we go. Where is it? It should be here somewhere. Here we go. Conte, this is a quote from last year, 18th of April 2021, when he was still in Italy. Conte, I wanted one of the best defenders in the world in Koulibaly when he was at Chelsea. For me, Koulibaly is among the two strongest defenders in the world. He is really very strong, Conte said. I wanted to take him at Chelsea, and he has grown even more. There is no need to introduce Koulibaly to Romelu Lukaku. He knows him, but Romelu has also grown a lot. So I don't know if this is an old quote. It is an old quote, but I don't know if this old quote is the reason why the links have established between Tottenham and Koulibaly. However, because of that, there's been a lot of links with Koulibaly and also with Ndicka, and also where's the last one? Oh, I can't find it right now. But also the man Hincapie from links as well. There's three other left-sided centre-backs. Central-sided centre-backs. We'll talk about that in a second. But three new targets. If we can't get hold of Gvardiol or Botman or Bastoni and Clement Lenglet, that whole noise has gone a little bit quiet. This is probably Paratici juggling some of his options. I also just wanted to call, actually, we're going to talk about Gleison Bremer. I'll bring it up at the same time, guys. I'll bring it up at the same time, and then we can go around the circle. Gleison Bremer yesterday, if nobody has heard this, Fabrizio Romano has mentioned that yesterday that Gleison Bremer confirmed that it's just a matter of time, and then I'm going to leave Torino. I'm considering some proposals. We'll see, he tells ESPN. Inter had an agreement with Bremer on personal terms since January, but they're still in talks with Torino about the final fee. The last thing I want to say, guys, before we get into the content is I did a Tottenham walks with my dog Bugsy about 2.5 weeks ago now, and I'll put the link in the description after the show if anyone's interested in going and checking it out. But I mentioned at the time that so much of this summer's transfer activity is entirely dependent on Inter Milan.
Yeah.
They have so many players that are part of their jigsaw that they want to get rid of. They have so many players that they want to keep. There are so many players that other teams are desperately trying to fill positions for. And Inter Milan need to finish the summer with a £60 million surplus. The reason why Gleisen, and we'll deal with Gleisen Bremer first. The reason why Gleisen Bremer is such an interesting thing for Tottenham to be looking at is because Inter Milan want him. They've agreed the terms, as I just said. They've agreed the terms back in January, but the deal hasn't been done. And the reason why the deal hasn't been done, in all likelihood, is because they haven't made a decision. Inter have not yet made a decision on how they want to raise their 60 million. Do they want to get rid of Skriniar to PSG? And Skriniar is happy to go to PSG, but PSG haven't paid the 56 million euros that PSG wants. So that deal isn't finalized yet. Bastoni, he doesn't want to leave, but Inter Milan, that's one of their players that they're happy to let go if the right amount of money comes in. And Tottenham, I don't know whether they have or haven't bid enough yet, but Bastoni doesn't want to leave. He's just apparently opened a restaurant in the area, and there's all sorts of legal issues with owning a business in Italy if you're not in Italy, and complications that we don't want to talk about too much. But also there's Lautaro Martinez. And Lautaro Martinez is another player that may be a make weight for Romelu Lukaku coming to Inter Milan. As the same goes with Dumfries. Chelsea are interested in Dumfries. Tottenham are interested in Dumfries. Chelsea and Tottenham and Arsenal and everybody else is interested in Martinez. Until Inter Milan figure out where they want to go with, who they want to release, who they're going to push out the door to allow them to do business, then all of the other things that are happening with them, like Gleisen Bremer going into Inter, can't happen. They can't take place. And as such, Tottenham have the opportunity to go in and deal with Torino direct. And so it's a very complicated thing. And Inter Milan, as I say, are, until they make up their mind, nothing's really going to shift. So maybe Tottenham can just avoid all of that. Before we talk about the left-sided centre-back options of Koulibaly and Hincapie and Ndicka, Kuva, I'll come to you first. Like Gleisen Bremer, he's available. 35 million quid. He's available. That's the deal that Inter have set. Are we being respectful to Inter in the hope of getting something else done that we want with Inter? Are we being stupid here and going, fucking Inter, you're sitting, stop, like shit or get off the pot is a phrase that they say in the international, in the finance market, right? If you're not going to make a move, then get out the fucking way. And I feel like Inter Milan are currently stalling everything so much. So for me, should Tottenham just bypass Inter and go straight to Bremer?
It's a hard one to read. Some of these ones. Are Inter looking at bringing in Bremer as the replacement to allow Bastoni to go, even though they're not really the same sort of player? That's possible.
Skriniar, I think they want him to replace Skriniar if Skriniar goes to PSG.
But they might also bring him in and take. Well, they might even get rid of both. Because there's reasonable value in both. So they might be looking at Bremer as part of, well, another one coming in alongside him. So perhaps it's that they want to secure something first before they allow them to go. Or they playing a bit of silly buggers, trying to get the price inflated, them doing their own, as is popular, smoke screen at the moment. What is interesting when you're saying about, let's go in, gazump them, go and get Bremer. We'd certainly make use of him. We're talking about the Conte quote about one of the most powerful defenders in the world. Bremer has got to be in that category at the moment.
He's an absolute beast.
He really is. Absolutely.
I've just downloaded a piece of content from YouTube, and in a way to get around copyright, I'm going to download it and slice and dice all of the clips of Bremer and how he absolutely handled Vlahovic in the Inter against Juventus game last season. I'm going to reorganize the clip, so I'm going to get around the copyright strike. I'm gonna upload that later on for everyone to watch. For me, Bremer, if he can handle Vlahovic, he can handle anyone. You know, and sorry, Kuba. Sorry, mate. Carry on.
No, it's fine. Yeah, Bremer. If we're getting Bremer and Bastoni, or Bremer and Ndicka, someone like that sort of thing, that would be a hell of a couple of signings.
Mm-hmm.
There are, like I've said earlier, there are plenty of players out there that will be very, very good additions in these positions. We're just focusing on the ones that have, the popular ones in the media at the moment. There's a lot of other ones that are easily under the radar. And I'm not concerned about which ones we got. There's a lot that fit the profile perfectly, and Conte will improve them. That's the key bit. We can be looking at pot B instead of pot A all the time and thinking we're turning these players into pot A players very quickly. Look at what's happened with Dyer and Davis just this season with Conte. No, not a worry for me. If we get the world class names, the likes of Bastoni and things, even better. But let's not get too worried about it. We'll just see what happens. As long as we slap the bid in when the opportunity does arrive for these type of players, do that. Don't hang around. Just get the offer in. So that puts the ball in their court. Then, how much do they want the money?
Yeah, 100%, mate. 100%. I couldn't agree more. Couldn't go. Big up to Matt Hayes in the house. How you doing? Okay, mate. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see everybody. The Hotspur is saying Ndicka and his great long balls. We're going to talk about these guys in a second. Before we do, I just want to get. I just want to get. Adam, tell me, what are your thoughts, mate? Like, is Inter Milan are crucial to everything, right? It's clear they're crucial to people's right wing back choices. They're especially in the Premier League, not just in the Premier League, but especially in the Premier League. Whatever happens to the Martinez deal, to the Lukaku deal, all of that stuff is pivotal to whatever Inter Milan do. But they're sitting on their hands, right? They want they're slowing everything down. Should Tottenham just, like, for me, Bremer is, having watched that clip of what in the game that he'd played against Vlahovic, and it's a 4-minute clip of just one game of how he just absolutely dominated Vlahovic.
Yeah.
Like, to me, should we be going after him for if the deal was agreed for 30 million euros, 35 million euros, go and pay 40 million euros and just go and pay. Tottenham can afford more salary than Inter can and than Torino can. Go and get Bremer. For me, it's like, if you think Basuma was good value at 30 million euros, Bremer is better value at 40 million euros for me, right? And I just think we just go fuck Inter. They're slowing everything down. They're not playing ball. Let us make the first move. Let's go and get Bremer, and then Inter have to then shit or get off the pot. What are your say? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, Inter are the finger that is it's poised at the top of the domino series, and we're all just sitting there waiting for them to go tick, and it's not happening. And I'm like, yeah, let's step away from that entire. Let's step away from the whole thing. I think don't let Inter call the shots. We, for the first time in how many years, probably ever, I can't remember a time where Spurs have been on the forefront of all of the transfer conversations. We've been making moves. We've been making waves. And we've never been in that position. Let's continue to enjoy being Billy Big Bollocks and do all of the things that we need to do, and don't let somebody else determine how our transfer window is going to go. So I think, who do Inter have that we want? Who do Inter specifically have that we're looking for? There are players that we would absolutely love and take, but it's not going to happen. They're asking too much for Skriniar. They're asking. I think the Bastoni deal it's been dragging on too long. We need to step away from it. I don't even think. I love Lautaro Martinez, but he's not even my first choice striker anymore. And again, they're asking for a crazy price, and they're not willing to make deals at this moment in time. So I'm like, okay, let's just move on. There's plenty of other incredible places that we can look to fill the squad that we want to have going into next season. Now, as far as Bremer specifically is concerned, I do think, as much as, yes, 100%, as far as a central centre back is concerned, He is absolutely the one that I'd want to go for. I would love nothing more than to see Bremer wearing a Spurs jersey next season. The only thing I will say is that it seems from by all reports that exactly what's just come up on the screen here. He wants his Italian citizenship, and he wants his Italian citizenship because I don't think that he has minutes for the Brazil national team yet, and I think he wants to play for Italy, as far as I know. So he wants his Italian citizenship, and he wants to play for the Italian team. So I think that immediately, if that's what his heart is set on, that puts us out of the game altogether completely. Because he's still.
So when he's saying,
I think he's got 6 months at least.
Okay, so when he's saying it's just a matter of time, and then I'm going to leave Torino, what he's really
saying
for another
Italian team.
It's for Inter, yeah.
For another any Italian team. So Inter are the ones that are going for him, but and he wants to go to an Italian team that are superior to Torino. I can't see him coming to the UK if he does want that extra 6 months in Italy to get his citizenship, and that is the big problem. If he's not, if all of that is complete and utter crap, and he's never said such a thing, then fair enough. We I would say absolutely get him in. But I don't think it's going to happen by virtue of the fact that I think there's no smoke without fire, and I don't think he's going to leave Italy at all, especially this summer. But again, to your first point, again, with regards to Inter, I think any team that has us by the balls in terms of where we're, what we're doing in our transfer window, we need to completely bitch slap that shit and walk away and go, right, we're gonna do our own thing. You've mentioned a lot of the other defenders there that we could go after, Ndicka and Koulibaly. I would love to see either of those players in. To be honest, even though Koulibaly is the one that's Koulibaly would be incredible. If we had Koulibaly coming into the left side of centre back, I think we'd destroy any attack that came anywhere near our third of the pitch between him and Romero. However, he is 30 years old, and to a certain extent, you do still want to think about the future. You don't want to be bringing in a 33-year-old Perisic and a 30-year-old Koulibaly on the left, and then in a couple of years' time, they've aged out, and we've got to fill the entire left side of the pitch again. And I think Ndicka is basically Koulibaly light. Genuinely, he's 22 years old. He's got so much of what Koulibaly has. He's only going to improve, especially under Antonio Conte. I think that's the deal that it would at the moment with all these new transfer reports coming out. That's the one that interests me the most. And just in terms of that, I don't know exactly how to pronounce his name. It's Spanish. It's Hincapie. I think the accent on the end.
Someone corrected me because I was calling it Hincapie or Hincapie, but someone's. Where is it? Here we go.
I think it's at the end.
Hincapie.
Hincapie. Yeah, because of the accent on the E. Yeah, so Hincapie, I to be honest with you, again, is one of those that is kind of completely out of nowhere. I have no idea. I have no idea what to think about him, except that watching his highlights reel, even his highlights reel isn't really all that impressive, and that's just to me. I know nothing about the guy. But Ndicka is the one that I think absolutely is the one to go after, personally. And yes, let's move away from the Inter Milan nonsense.
We're going to bring that up right now. Is everyone ready to move into the main part of the show? It's only taken an hour and 25 minutes to get to the actual title. But here's the first bit of news for you, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, let me get my... I'm going to have to share my screen. And then I'm going to move this bad boy over here to my screen on the wall. Get this out of the way. All right. The first bit of news is from The Sun. Tottenham have been told to pay. Let me get rid of everything else. One second. Here we go. It's a bit better now. Tottenham have been told. What have I done to get you guys down here on the left-hand side? I don't know how to move your beautiful faces and mine over to hang on. I'm not sure how to move my. There we go. Well done, mate. How do I do that? Just
below the main screen, you got a series of boxes there with the icons in it.
Oh, okay. Oh, well done. Oh, nice one. Okay, I see. All right. So, cheers, Kuba. Cheers, Kuba Group. First off, from The Sun, Tottenham are told to pay £34 million if they want Bayer, Leverkusen centre back Piero Hincapie. As Conte plots a title push, the Bayer Leverkusen centre-back is on Spurs boss Antonio Conte's wish list as he continues with his summer spending spree. Midfielder Ismasouma, forward Perisic and Foster are already on board as Tottenham lead the way in the Premier League this transfer window, and Conte is not stopping. A left-sided centre-half is seen as a key addition to the squad as the Italian plots for the extra demands of the Champions League football and a genuine title push. There's really not too much else to say apart from Hincapie. He's only 20 years old, Ecuador international. He's just completed his season in the Bundesliga. He's emerging as a key figure in the squad. Let's get rid of you. Let's start to move on to another news. We're obviously also after Evan Ndicka. According to Transfer Market, he can play anywhere. This is his. I mean, he's considered in the back four as a left sided or the right side of a back two. Plus, he can play a little bit on the left sided centre back. But his valuation has gone through the roof in recent years at Frankfurt. I guess in no small part because of his season where they took it to the Europa Cup final, and they won. Did they win?
They did.
They did win, didn't they? 4 goals and 4 assists in 32 appearances. I'm just going to be comparing him, guys. I'm getting rid of these guys here. 1 second. Get rid of you. Let's get rid of you. We're not interested in Antony anymore. So we need to get these bad boys up. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring this in now. So what I've done, if you remember a few weeks ago, we compared Pau Torres, Sven Botman, Bastoni, Gvardiol, and Clement Lenglet at left-sided centre-back. The reason why I see that, who was it? I think it was Craig Bowler who said, where is he? Where's Craig? That Koulibaly would play in the middle, not on the left. The reason why I'm not entirely sure about that. You could be right. But
the heat map suggests otherwise.
Well, I'm just looking at his heat map for the entire season.
Yeah.
And I mean that could be because of the tactics of his team, but it does look like he's more drawn towards the left-hand side. So for the purposes of comparison, we're going to factor in, and we could do the same if you want to go for an extra hour. We could do the same and look at Bremer versus Koulibaly and compare them to Eric Dyer. And you know what we'll do?
It's the key bit there. Look at preferred foot.
Oh yeah, good point. That's a very good point.
I mean, some players are quite comfortable playing with their wrong foot for that side of the pitch, but it's not that common. It's not always natural. You hear that in the past, lots of central defensive pairings have always said you really want your partner to be using the other foot.
If we compare him to Eric Dyer, just on the Pentagon system, it's not a hell of a lot of difference. It looks like Koulibaly's got a little bit more technical abilities. I'm guessing that means his ability to control and pass the ball. Attacking wise, he might be. Yeah, he definitely outperforms Eric Dyer in every asset. But and then if we just look at Ben Davies, just for argument's sake, just on the off chance that he also outperforms Ben Davies in everything, including tactical stuff as well. But for the purposes of today, let's focus on looking at. We'll come back to this. We'll come back to that other stat in a second. But let me ask you guys. Do you think it's? Are we convinced that Koulibaly is going to play in the centre if he does come in? So should we be comparing Koulibaly with someone like Bremer?
Yes. I think you could do both, to be honest. I think you could do both. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't play on the left side when he's very comfortable playing there. And you can see it's clear by the heat map. That's where he is most of the time. But definitely, I also agree with Kuva. I think you could if you're doing the comparisons, you could put him in with the left side of centre backs, and you could put him with the central centre backs and do the comparisons either way.
Okay. Well, just briefly then, because today wasn't supposed to be about the central-sided stuff, but it's supposed to be left-sided. I'll take your point, Craig. Maybe he is more of a centre. Well, we don't know. But
I mean, the big points with all of these ones that we're going to be looking at now is if it's the left-sided centre-back, they've got to be very, very capable of dropping out to the left-back area, because Perisic is not going to be hanging back in the game. He's going to be bombing up the pitch. This is what made Jan Vertonghen so damn good as a central defender as well, because he could cover that fullback area. He's very comfortable playing at that position at international level.
And so is Ndicka, by the way.
Exactly, same thing. Ndicka's been used to playing with Kostic. He knows exactly what it's like having a wing back who bombs forward the whole game. That's what I like about Ndicka. He's a absolute fits like a glove for what's needed.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Mr. Riddler is an Arsenal fan who likes that guy on Twitter. I forget the Arsenal guy, the Arsenal account who keeps moaning that Conte is building for the short term versus Arsenal building for the long term.
Basuma is not a short-term acquisition.
Yeah, neither. Yeah, exactly. All the players that we're going to pay money for.
I kind of get this though. It's building for the now, isn't it? Conte's not going to be saying he wants to win the league in 4 years' time. He wants to win it.
He won't be here in 4 years' time. He wants.
I'm not sure about that. You know, I think he's enjoying himself at the moment.
What's it going to take? Okay, you know what? Quick segue then. Quick segue. Let me pull this down for a second. What's it going to take for Conte to commit and sign a 2 or 3 year deal where he's going to, not. I get it. He's someone who wants to win trophies, and therefore he's going to fix things for the now. And to a point, I get. I agree. Perisic isn't a long-term deal, but he's on a free transfer. The same with Foster. The same with Eriksen if he comes in. So, but the players that we are spending money on or looking to spend money on, people like Jed Spence, they are young players that are going to be here for the foreseeable. Hopefully, if we can get a Bremer or any of those guys in the defence, they're all, with the exception of Koulibaly, they're all going to be in their 20s and here for the medium to long term. Well, what's it going to take to get Conte to sign a contract? And do you think it's possible to do that this summer, or do you think it's going to be something he'll do mid-season? I'll come to you first, Kuba. Yeah, I
think we're starting to do it already. It takes the immediate injection of quality into the squad. Now, the thing is with Perisic, he is getting on a bit, but he's good enough for this season. I think he'll be good enough the season after. He's a very fit chap. He looks after himself physically. Yeah. The thing that's going to keep Conte is instantly being able to say, there's a squad capable of doing something right now. In the meantime, we'll be looking at the longer term options to bring in. What you're doing is buying yourself time. It's getting that. That's why some of these deals can be loan deals. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. Just bring somebody in for the next season. So Conte's going to be looking at the squad he's got available to him and rubbing his hands and thinking, I can really work with this.
Yeah.
Because I think this is why I think he's going to stay longer term with us. We're starting to do that. And I think he suddenly realised how much fun it is to turn the shit show of mediocrity and constant underachievement that we've been doing and turning the whole club around into a period of success. And that he will be able to look back at that at the end of his career and just say, you know what, that is one of the best achievements I ever did. Turning that club around that became a laughing stock amongst others for the failure to win trophies into serial winners and associated with his name. We'll be flying his banner up above the ground for decades afterwards.
Yeah, amazing.
I think he fancies that.
I hope you're right, mate. You get me excited. I've got a bit of a semi. I might just go to the bathroom for more than one reason in a second. Adam, I'll come to you, mate. What's it going to take to see Conte? I'm looking over here because I've got a separate screen over here and it's miles.
Yeah, same as.
It's a fucking nightmare. I need to bring it closer. But what's it going to take, Adam, to see Conte commit to Tottenham Hotspur for a project that's, a long term?
Yeah. I think it's progress, and it's progress in the sense of he's already, as Kuva stated, the things that are happening at the moment are definitely a massive leap forward in the sense that he's being given the money to get the players that he wants. If he wasn't backed by the board, he wasn't going to stick around, and we know that. But that's true of Harry Kane as well, by the way. So because we know that Levy has finally gone, look, here's the purse, go on, this is how much you're getting. Just go do what you got to do. That was a significant amount of what Conte needed to hang on in terms of staying. In terms of hanging on for years to come, it's always going to be about progress in terms of the outcome. What did we get at the end of the season? Did we do better than the season before? And I don't think it's micro increments. He wants to make massive leaps every season. I think by next summer, if we are third place or above and we've got a trophy and we got a cup, I think that will be enough. I think if let's say he won the FA Cup and we came third in the league, I think he'd stick around. I don't think he's going to be like, oh, well, we didn't win the league this year with this brand new team that I made. I'm moving on. I think it'll be a case of it just needs to be an improvement on last season in the league. So third or higher and a trophy.
Yeah. I think for a sensational season, two things are going to have to happen. The players that we get in hit the ground running and they exceed even our expectations when they're good already. Mm-hmm. The second one is Manchester City's transfer policy has to be a failure. Basically, Holland has to flop. Yeah. Well, even if he flops, they've still got what was the one they got from South America? Alvarez.
Oh, yes.
And he's a fantastic player as well, by all accounts. I've barely seen him, to be honest, but I think we're all well aware of him.
I've heard reports that they're looking to loan him out.
Could be. Might take a little while to settle in Europe. Yeah, it's possible. Not so much of an issue for a club like Man City, though, is it?
No.
You've got Haaland on your books, and you've got players that can play in a system without having a forward as well. So, I think if all that happens, Conte could be looking at the title sooner than we're anticipating.
That's an awful lot that has to go right, though.
But yeah, I think the more realistic one is forget everybody that's below us and forget Chelsea because they're not going to be up there with Man City either. We just concentrate on Man City, and if Conte gets the team, I reckon within 10 points next season, I'm going on the assumption that Man City are very capable of getting 100 points in a season. Very capable of doing that. They've come very close.
100 points.
They only lose 2 or 3 games in a season.
But they've already done
it.
Yeah, exactly.
They've already done that, though. It's not
exactly. So you have to think they're capable of to do that any season.
Yeah.
If we can get within 10 points of that, that's us breaking the 90 points mark. We've never done that. That'll be a fantastic season. Fantastic season, and it'll be tangible evidence that we are progressing under Conte. There's something there we'll be able to say, we got that close now. Now, what steps are needed to take us those extra few points to get above them? And that's going to be the hardest bit for Levy, because then he's probably going to have to really shell out the big money for some people. But by that point, we'll be filled with great players.
On that point, Kuba, I love what you're saying there, mate. Ian Nicholson is bringing me back to a common theme that I keep mentioning. I do keep mentioning it on the channel, that we're spending a lot of time, and I'm guilty of it as well, because we're about to go through it, looking at the centre-back space, right? But, and I'll say it again, because I think it's worth reiterating, we only conceded 5 goals in the last 11 games of the season, and we only conceded 8 goals in the last 15 games of the season. If you extrapolate that out, that essentially, I know that we were fantastic in the last period of the season, with the exception of the Man United game where we conceded 3, and even in that game, that was because of an absolute world-class performance by one of the GOATs of all time. And for me, I understand. I'm not suggesting that improving the centre-back role isn't that important. But for me, we did also we dropped 25 points from low-block teams. And so fixing that, solving for that, for me, is how we go from scraping 4th, getting 4th comfortably. And next season, it doesn't matter whether you get 4th or 5th. You're still going to qualify for the Champions League because of the new coefficiency ruling. So it's going to be fairly easy, I think, next season to get into the Champions League. But to actually go that one step further and surpass Chelsea and try and break down Liverpool or Manchester City, presuming that City aren't going to get 100 points. This season, they won the league with 91 points. If we got the 25 points, if we didn't drop those 25 points to low block teams, we would have won the league. And how do you drop the 25 points? Or how do you not drop those 25 points? Well, part of that is by having, a defense that is solid. But the other part is knowing how to do it offensively. And a CAM role, an Eriksen, and if not an Eriksen, then somebody else is super important, as is the right wing back slot. So again, I'm sorry for delaying this Koulibaly defensive thing, but I think because I like the point by Ian Nicholson, very random shout, but for central attacking midfielder, if we can't get Eriksen, this guy, Lovro Meha, I think is how you say it, the next Luka Modric, sounds like an Arsenal tag, the next Kevin De Bruyne in Vieira is worth a shout. Before we get onto this, the centre back stuff, just quickly, Adam, I'll come to you first. Like, do you agree that for me, paying up for a right wing back and getting a central attacking midfielder that can, between them, work with Perisic to break down the low block I think it's far more important than improving on an already fairly solid defence. I'm not saying that the defence isn't important to improve on as well, but just in list of priorities for me, getting the ability to get those 25 points back is better than conceding fewer goals than we already did last season. We didn't concede that many in the second half of the season anyway under the Conte system. So if you do agree, if you don't agree, tell me why. But if you do agree, are you happy with Jed Spence? Are you happy with Eriksen? Are they going to be the solution that you need? And if not, who else do you want to go for? Is Lovro Mayher one of the options, or is it somebody else that you'd rather see us spend 60, 70 million quid on?
I'm very much a romantic when it comes to the whole Christian Eriksen thing. I'd love to see him come back after everything he's been through, but after everything he's done for us, and because of the exact qualities that he has that we've been missing for so long. How many seasons now we've been saying we've needed an Eriksen replacement? We need an Eriksen replacement. And it's like the Eriksen replacement is Eriksen coming back better than he's ever been. Do you know what I mean? He is definitely going to be capable of breaking down the low block by himself because of the way that he can ping those balls forward to I mean, in the past, he had Kane and he had Dele Alli, and Son was playing out on the left. You know what I mean? He was playing wide back then. Now he can ping it forward to take your pick. He can ping it forward to Kulusevski, Kane, and Son, and also Perisic, and also potentially Spence or whoever's playing out on the right, because the front five are all supposed to get goals in a Conte system. So he can, he's got more to play around with, and so we've got the new Moussa Dembele as well in Yves Bissouma. I 100% think that those progressive type players are going to help us get those, break down those teams that we found it hard to get points off. And you like Perisic, man. Like, this is the thing. Like, you talk about how important those wide players are. I don't know, are we going to even get Jed Spence? But if we do, yes, he's a gamble. Perisic isn't. Perisic absolutely isn't. So I'm not as concerned now, given that we are making strides. We've brought players in. We've brought Bissouma in. We've brought Perisic in. We are going to bring in a right wing back. I'm not as concerned about breaking down the low block now as I am with making sure that if we have any injuries in the back line, that we're not completely and utterly screwed. Because you saw what happened when we lost Dyer for however many games it was. We leaked goals like a sieve because we didn't have a player who I wanted rid of only a few months earlier. So the fact that our only left-sided centre back is Ben Davies, I do think it is a massive priority at the moment, to be honest. And I totally 100% respect and understand completely where you're coming from. Breaking down the low block is probably the most important thing, but I think we're already making strides to do that. But we do not have a backup left-sided centre back. And Davies should be that backup, and we should have an improvement on him. Definitely. I still think that's I would still like to see that happen sooner rather than later, because it is a position that we desperately need to fill.
Yeah, I agree 100%. A lot of people saying, Derek Smith, for example, saying we still need a watertight defence and we don't have the depth. Same point you're making, mate. Like I say, I agree. I still want us to go out and get one of these or both of the players, Bremer or an Ndicka or a Koulibaly or a Clement Lenglet, somebody, or maybe both, maybe two, right? Go and get two. Why not? I get it. I just don't, for the life of me, if we miss out on Christian Eriksen, I'm terrified, because he's a free transfer and it will only be money that means that we don't get him. If he's decided he's staying in London, and I'm going to come to you now, Kuba. If he decides we're staying in London, it's between Brentford and Tottenham. If Man United, is too much of an upheaval for his life, great. That's a winning point. But don't fucking miss it for a biscuit. Don't pay the guy $100,000 a week. Massively incentivize him with appearance bonuses and goal bonuses, assist, but do whatever you got to do, get him. Because if you don't get him, then you're going to have to go and pay 50 million quid for someone that's in contract that even is fit to lace the boots of Eriksen, in my opinion. Kuva, I know you have a slightly different take on the Eriksen situation. So, but I want you to go on Eriksen, but also just if it's not him, who, and also, but if it's not him, who, but also on the right wing back. I know you think that Jed Spence might be a little bit of a kind of Levy-esque kind of like a bit of a compromise with the Conte methodology of ready for now, and Jed Spence might be a little bit of Levy saying, hang on a minute, we need a little bit more for the future as well. Because I think we all agree that right wing backs, if we start the season with our right wing back options being the same as they were last season in Doherty and an injured Doherty and Emerson, and then you just throw Jed Spence in, it's still a very vulnerable and risky position for such an important part of the squad. So Kuba, like, how do we find those 25 points, mate? How do we break down those teams? Go. Sorry.
Right. Okay. There's a lot of points to actually get through there at the moment.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, you got eight.
But they're all greatly interlinked, because the left-sided centre-back role, that is going to help our attack, because it's a ball-carrying defender. It's somebody that, as they progress up the pitch, you're adding quality, anticipation, and a first line of defence into the opponent's half, while maintaining an ability to play a defence-splitting pass, and adding some height at times to the attack, arriving in the box late when needed as well. We've seen that with Ben Davies doing it, and he's doing it quite well, to the point where I was betting on him to score in games, just because it was a nice little punt at sort of 25-1. If we get that right, it adds to the attack. One thing we've already done that adds to the attack is Basuma. Basuma's an incredible signing, because it strengthens the core at the back of the team, which allows your wing-backs to get forward. If your wing-backs get forward, you provide width.
Very good point.
It stretches the opponent's team out. When it's Emerson up the pitch, they didn't worry about him, because they know he's crap. He can't cross.
Again, was it the Brighton game or the Brentford game where?
Yeah,
I think it was Brighton game, right, where they beat us in the last minute, where they basically just they had like their entire midfield within 20 meters. The entire game was played in like 40-yard box around the middle, because they didn't give a shit. They weren't worried about Emerson. They knew that we were going to try and go through the middle against them, and it didn't work out.
You leave Perisic that sort of space, he's just going to dribble into the box and have a crack.
100%. Yeah, great point. Really good.
So we've got that side of it to break down the opponents. I think this is why we're getting a bit sucked into, in my opinion, the trap of thinking we need a cam. We don't necessarily need a cam. We just need to provide the way for players to get forward in numbers. The wing-backs are an essential part of Conte's system for that. Now, if you do get a player in with a bit of trickery and a bit of guile in front of the back four, even if it's very loosely a cam, it could be just a sort of free roll floating attacker. Well, yeah, of course, all the better for it. Have some options. Eriksen does become an interesting one, because for me, Basuma has strengthened that defensive side of the game so much. We can afford somebody to be a little bit more of a luxury player, if you like. Doesn't have to get stuck in and work their socks off as hard as some of the others. Although Eriksen does do a lot of running, he does get into the positions and he does work for the team. But before that, we're probably looking at more a sort of box-to-box midfielder, somebody with a little bit more aggression in them, the sort of the Barella type player, or perhaps the play. Likewise, I'm hoping that's the sort of player that Skippy develops into.
Barella from Inter. Barella.
Yeah.
Another Inter Milan player that we'd like to have.
Oh, that's another one to die for. That player, I think. So we're looking at the
Inter Milan team. It's much easier, isn't it?
Yeah. So we're looking at those sort of players, and Jed Spence comes into the equation because, of course, for what he did last season, his stats seemed reasonable. People will say, "Oh, he didn't get a lot of goals or assists," but you can't directly equate that to what he's going to be doing in a higher league with better players alongside him. There's a big difference to crossing a ball for Harry Kane and getting an assist than there is for, I don't even know who Middlesbrough's attack as well. I can't remember the names because they were just nobodies.
No, I can't remember.
So you up your game when you come into the bigger squad.
They had that fellow Jones. Was it Jones who was playing on the right wing back? The reason why Jed Spence didn't get into the Middlesbrough team and was loaned out was because of the fellow. Is it? I think it was Jones.
Jones. I think. Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Then we're talking about Forest as well. It's same thing. Basically, talking about forwards that we don't really have any sort of great affinity to. But and anyway, he comes in as an unknown. He could be brilliant. he might fail. We don't know. So I've maintained this over the last week. Where I prefer to see us sign an experienced, quality player to go alongside him. Then we can shift Emerson, and let's be honest, let's get Doherty out as well. Ultimately, although he's done well,
as well, would you?
He's done well for us. Right as it stands at the moment, I'm happy to keep onto him because he offered that versatility.
That 12-game period that
he can at least offer something in the attacking third, which some of the others aren't doing very well. I think Reguilon's definitely gone. He's just not performing at all for a long time now. It's a real shame because he could have been exactly the sort of player Conte would have loved. The way he started off, he was brilliant. But we've got to I think get away from thinking we need a player from a fixed position to do a certain job, because you can have flexibility. Even the centre-back positions. If we did get a Bremer in instead of a Bastoni, he's not the left-sided centre-back. But then if you got someone like a Pau Torres alongside, even playing in a centre, Pau Torres can play in the centre and play the old sweeper role and bring the ball forward from that. There's different combinations that are going to work. It's just understanding what's going to allow the team to get forward more freely while maintaining that incredibly strong defensive shape in the middle there. And Basuma's actually been more of a positive for that than possibly some of the centre-back signings will be.
Would you say Basuma is the signing of our window so far?
Yeah, got to be.
Over Perisic, yeah?
Perisic is a hell of a signing too, no mistake. But Basuma's the one we've been looking for a while. Our midfielder's been powder puffed too many times. We get overrun. Basuma did the damage to us. It's there right in front of us. What we're missing.
Yeah, we dropped 5 points against Brighton, didn't we? So
and you've also got to think now versus the future as well. Yeah. Perisic is 33 years of age. We haven't got him that long. Basuma we could have for nearly 4 decade.
Years. 4 years of the initial contract. Jeffrey Miller saying Basuma. All right, guys. I appreciate this fantastic little segue. And now it's time. Let me move this stuff back over to the side. You can see the right side of my cheeks. We'll get this up. Let's get going. All right. So this is the conversation now, right? We've been linked with Piero Hincapie. Is that how we're saying it? Hincapie. Abite Ndicka and Kalidou Koulibaly. And I've also kept in Pau Torres, Sven Botman, and of course Ben Davies, which is the crucial consideration. I'm not sure if Sven Botman's even a reality thing here anymore, but Pau Torres is still lingering. The idea of Pau Torres is still lingering with intent because of our desire to get rid of Giovanni Lo Celso.
Botman is also another one you could consider a central centre centre back as well, isn't he?
Yeah, on that basis, should we? I don't know. Should we get rid of him and bring in? No, you know what? Let's just leave it.
I think Botman's a good one to keep in there. He's got a bit of everything.
All right, so we're gonna go toggle by 90 on everything. So that by the way, because of the youthful nature of Hincapie and Ndicka, they haven't got enough game time behind them to really fairly compare over a longer period. So this is just based on their last season stats. It's not based on anything before that. When we did last time when we did all the other guys, we did it over a 2 or 3 season period to get a kind of bit of a fairer analysis. But because Hincapie and Ndicka are fairly, they're young fellas, then there wasn't enough time to kind of go beyond that. So we're going to do once just on last season alone. Obviously, guys, bear in mind in the comments that there's lots of context. We're aware of the context, that we're not digging into the specifics of each player. There might be games where they played where they were awful and it was a one-off, but because those stats were so bad that they exaggerate the average. And there might also be games where the players were phenomenal against weaker opposition that exaggerate the stats to the upside. That's a context that we're aware of, but we're not factoring it in because, it would be ridiculous to go into looking into every single game they played. And also, we're also not going to we're aware of, but not factoring in the fact that they play in different leagues, and so it might be there's just things to remember there. So
Stats aren't everything; they're just fun.
something to look forward to. Yeah, something to look into. Let me get my smoke thing. Right.
So
Okay.
I'm just going to bring up a comment for my own vanity here. Cheers,
I want to
DB.
join. Speaks good balanced sense and obviously hates his wife. Nice. No, mate,
To be fair,
mate.
I'll get on very well with the ex-missus, to be fair, but she is an ex-missus.
I have to say, mate, Cooper, I think you've been on my stream since pretty much every stream since I started doing this back in December and January. But I do think that you are probably the most popular free agent amongst the community. You're everywhere, all day long, every day. I love it.
Perisic of the community, free agent, but do a job.
100%. Jack Kanicki's in the house, apparently. Let me see where he is. There he is. He's saying, "Turn nice in the house." Come on, people. Yeah, come on, guys, please. If there's that many people here, please just tap the like button or the dislike button. If you hate it, hit that as well. Just show some emotion, one way or the other. I'd prefer it if you showed the like one, but whatever. Just show it. Just a little free tap. And also, please, guys, if you don't mind, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. 55% of people that watch my channels regularly, my shows regularly, are not subscribed, and I'd really appreciate it if you would just show that love.
It don't make no sense.
Happy birthday to you, Jack. I'm not sure how old you were yesterday. I think you're still in your 20s, you lucky bastard. And I know you're hungover today, so I hope that the pain is bad because, for me, when I have a drink, I have a couple of beers. When you're 38, the hangovers are brutal, even if you just have a couple of beers. So I hope that you have a bad one today, just to know how we feel in our late 30s. Many happy returns, my friend. Many happy returns. All right, guys. All right. Let's talk about this. Okay. Where do we start? We're not going to go for the goal. Let's get to the most important bit. Let's start with the defensive actions, right? Let's start with the defensive actions. On a per 90 basis, Koulibaly is this is the spectrum. He's the GOAT of the five. 2.25 tackles per 90. And he's also winning the most as well. 1.61 of the 2.25. Obite, is it Obite? Obita? I'm not sure. I don't know how you say his first name. But what's interesting, again, just bear in mind this guy, because a lot of people are out there. Ever since I did this first stat review, when we compared it, all of them, Kuva, you were on the show with me and with me and you and Will Stewart. Pau Torres is massively underwhelming as a defender. And defensively, he wasn't even that good on any of the other actions as well. He was statistically worse than Ben Davies on pretty much every meaningful attribute. So if we're looking to pay 50 million or 40 million or whatever it is, plus Lo Celso for this guy, this is the reason why I'm not interested in him.
This is one of the things that gets misunderstood about Pau Torres, though. You've got the likes of, say, a Sven Botman or a Bremer, or even an Eric Dyer, as absolute stoppers. The physically strong, powerful, gets into the tackles. Pau Torres is the one that drops off. He's looking to pick up the loose ball. He's not getting involved in those crunching challenges or anything. He's just looking to receive the ball and use it correctly, which is a great skill to have. It's a traditional sweeper role that even Glenn Hoddle started to play in his later days when he came back to the Premier League with Chelsea, unfortunately. But it's a different kind of role. So in some ways, it's an unfair comparison on some of the stats. In other ways, he's going to come ahead on those sort of ones, depending on which stats you look at. So it's different, very much a different type of player to say Koulibaly. He's very, very different than those two. Yeah,
100%. And just quickly, someone was reminding me there in the comments, not where's Bugsy? Andrew, Bugsy's downstairs. Kathy Prince was asking, what about Udogi or Udogi? And it's a good point, Kathy. I haven't included him, but I have now. Because he was someone that's been noted, and I've also gone on him. He's a youngster. He's only 18 years old from Udinese. So I've included him. I've removed Pau Torres. because we've already reviewed Pau Torres. So let's have a look at these guys. And so we've got 4 new boys in here, and we're going to leave Sven Botman in just for the sake of it. But what we're really looking for is, how do they compare to Ben Davies? And so we're going to start with the defensive actions. And as I said earlier, oh, look at that. We've got a new boy.
Ooh.
Udogi. Does anyone know how you say his name? Udogi? Udogi,
Udogi, I think. Yeah.
Udogi, that'll do. We'll call him Udogi from Udinese. 2.73 tackles per 90.
Yeah. Doesn't Udogi play fullback though?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
he?
Wait a minute. Hang on. Let's have a look.
Yeah, he's a wing back. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right, actually. You are right. You are right. Okay. Good point.
But other than that,
yeah, that's the important thing. Sorry.
No, actually, I think that's still a good point as well, because personally, I'd like to see us getting another left back to go with Perisic, because I don't think Sessegnon's going to have fitness, let alone the ability to keep up with him.
All right, we'll keep him in there, but we'll bear in mind that he's a left back, not a left wing back, not a left-sided centre back. But you know what? On his tackles basis, he where are we? Defensive actions. Have I got rid of him? No, here we go.
There's certainly some stats you could make direct comparisons with because of that left-sided central defender having to cover the left-back role quite often. They become very comparable in some things. But as long as you bear in mind that he's not really a centre-back, then yeah.
Oh, look who's here. Look who's here. Would you like to come in, Will? Would you like to come in and join? Oh, but sorry. Before we go any further, I've missed this one. We got a new member of the Spurs Talk Show puppies, Mark Scrumpy Cousins. Welcome to the team, my friend. Thank you so much for your support, buddy. I appreciate you. Makes my day to know that you're going to be a part of the fan shows when we start. All we need is four more, and we're going to start, mate. Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate you, buddy. Welcome to the team. Cody Maxang, Sean, trying to make all the enunciations makes my day. I'm trying my best, mate. I'm trying my best. Trying my absolute best. Let me know if just talk. We're doing stat review. We're doing the same thing we did before, and but now we've got the new people: Koulibaly, Hincapie, Ndicka, and Udogi. Let me know if you want to come, and I can drop you in. No problem at all, mate. But let's carry on and brutalize this as best as we can. I'm not sure what you're saying. You saw. I don't know what you're saying. Let me know. Right. Where do we go from here? Tackles versus dribbles. The best percentage of tackles won versus the dribbles that have come in. Mr. Ndicka is better than the rest. Hincapie, look at that. Ben Davies right down the bottom. Tackles in the defensive third. Koulibaly, Udogi. Ben Davies once again right down the bottom. You know what? I feel like I need someone. I feel like I need a Will or a Jack here to help me figure this stuff out. Pressures. Let's look at pressures. Hincapie has a 43% success rate of gaining possession within 5 seconds of applying, or the team gain possession within 5 seconds of applying pressure. Koulibaly is second. 1 second, boys. Let me just send a tweet, send a thing out. What I've got to do here. Copy this.
I do agree with you, though, Kuva, that as far as the wing backs are concerned, even with Perisic coming in on that left side, I think that Sessegnon is definitely. I don't believe he's a fit understudy, and the wing back areas are somewhere where we I don't think that Conte is going to take them too lightly. Everyone is very, very concerned about what's going to be happening in those areas, and the fact is, if we've got Perisic in, it shows that he knows how prolific someone's going to need to be. Do you know what I mean? So having a Udinese is definitely, a Udogi, sorry, is probably a better shout than having a Sessegnon.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it won't be the first time that a club releases a player that, although they know they're good or have great potential, if they're injured constantly, it's really not a lot good to you, is it? I mean,
we're on another level now.
As much as we hate the bloke, you got to look at the likes of Jack Wilshere. You know, he had some talent and everything, but I mean, his ankles made out of Weetabix. So
porridge legs.
Yeah, you just have to let people go sometimes. It's there might be potential in some of these players, but it's not going to get you anywhere. It's a little bit being a little bit too loyal at your own expense.
Yeah.
So what we're saying here, boys, so Ndicka in terms of blocks, number of times blocking per 90, Ndicka has the recipe over. But it's not a massive difference between him and Hincapie. Again, Ben Davies right down the bottom. But essentially, any of these players are massive improvements on Ben Davies, whether it's Ndicka, Hincapie, even Koulibaly. Although Koulibaly's not. Well, yeah, you know what? It's just on the differential. 1.38 versus 1.91. The next worst is absolutely no difference at all. But Ndicka is the top of the pop so far. Number of times blocking a shot standing in his path. Koulibaly is the man there. Sven Botman, number 2.
Big lads.
When you think about it, though, those are the 2 lads that we said are more than likely centre mids, and they're the ones that are the shot stoppers. They're the ones that are standing in front of the goal directly all the time.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? So it makes all the sense in the world that they're the ones that are in the firing line.
I have to confess, I do not know a lot about Hincapie.
Neither do I. Plays for Leverkusen, had a good season.
Yeah, I've seen the name. I've not really paid attention to him, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm the same. But Ndicka, definitely the one making the biggest impression on me so far from everything I've seen.
Yeah.
Interceptions, Hincapie. Do you know what? Oh, that's a lot more. It's almost an extra interception every single game than everybody else, at least, and almost twice as many as Koulibaly and Ben Davies and Sven Botman. Interesting.
Suggests he's reading the game well and able to bring the ball under control when he does manage to disrupt the pass.
Yeah.
So it's a good stat to have, certainly.
All right. So basically, so far, I'm seeing Koulibaly's. Like for me, it's Ndicka or Hincapie that seem to be the first and second choice for most of the meaningful defensive actions. Would you guys agree?
Yeah. Although, again, Ndicka is the one that's standing out far and away for me.
Yeah, it's the youthful side of him as well. He's what, 22?
22, yeah.
So you're looking at somebody who could be a mainstay of your defense for the next 10 years. It's a very good prospect.
With Romero.
Yeah, with Romero, exactly. Now, if you bring in for the short term somebody like a Koulibaly to go in the central role as well, that gives them the experience for the next few years until they can step up and become the experienced players themselves. It's a good system to always have that, the experienced player plus the youthful one coming alongside them, learning from them as they play alongside. Liverpool used to be great at doing this. I've said this on streams before. When they're at their heyday back in the 70s, 80s, they'd bring in a couple of experienced pros every season, whether they were winning the double, whether they were winning, winning league titles or European Cups, 2 experienced players in, and then 1 promising youngster each time. And it was a great formula. It worked for them for decades. Just because you're adding to the quality of the first team and you're also putting a bit of extra fresh blood into the squad overall, bit of, the future of the club coming in with a youngster who you're hoping is going to do the job, and it regularly worked for them. I'd love us to be back in that position where we're not going to have crazy summer signing sprees because the squad's fallen so far behind. We want to get to this point where we only need 2 players. We only need the 1 youngster coming through because the academy's pumping out great talent, and we haven't let ourselves slide for so long that we need mass recruitment in one summer.
Yeah, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, we got another new member, Mr. Chris Agomba. Welcome to the team, my friend. Thank you so much for your support Really appreciate it, buddy. This is insane. Insane amounts of new memberships. I need to star these so I can remember them at the end. Thank you so much once again, my man. It means the world to me. Absolutely means the world to me. I can't wait to get these live shows going with the fan finance. It's going to be very soon by the looks of it. But mate, really appreciate the support, buddy. And can't wait to have you on. All right, possession boys, possession stuff. Touches 74%, 74. Sorry, per 90. Hincapie wins this. Ndicka slightly behind. Successful dribbles. Koulibaly. How much emphasis are you placing on dribbles and carries in as a left-sided centre back?
I would say a lot. It can in Conte's system because they definitely they're on either side of the central centre back. They definitely need to be able to do a lot more of the pressing, a lot more of the distribution. And so if they're able to carry the ball into a more progressive area, then great. If not, they need to at least be able to cross, to put in those long balls. So that's another one that we need to look at as well. Just
one thing to call out here is Udigi or Udoggy, as James from the Spurs related called out. It should be Spurs doggy. Only 54% successful dribbles. Even if he is playing as a left-sided wing back, then that's not very good, is it? 54% as a dribbler. You'd hope that he'll be able to.
Can't say I've watched him too much, but I know from my own playing experience, I wasn't a dribbler either. I would put the ball a bit ahead of me because I'd rely on my pace to get past somebody and then just concentrate on putting in a good cross if I could, which I didn't because I was bloody rubbish. But, you think you're good at the time.
I still do think I'm good. Trying to carry 19 stone around. Well, I play football with Bugsy down the park. She runs rings around me, but I'll still put in a fucking tackle here and there and just let her know she's not got the easy pass. Before we get any further, we got a super chat from my man Jack and Nicky. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Jack and Nicky. Happy birthday to you. Hey, many happy returns, my man. You should have joined in there, guys. Adam, I know you're a singer.
I don't do it if it sounds like you can actually sing a little bit.
Yeah, well,
no,
I
on Bob Spur crowd, we don't do that.
The man below me can absolutely fucking pull out a tune. Thank you so much for the super chat, Jack. It means the world to me. He says Ndicka is a 6'4" man. Apparently, he's been at Frankfurt since 2018, so he's more of a Bundesliga product than Ligue 1. He was quality in the Europa League. Sorry, I can't come on, Sean. No worries, mate. I understand. Your hands are shaking and your head is hurting and your stomach is queasy. Best thing you want to do is go and order one of those pizzas from New York. Best pizzas in the world. Mate, thank you so much for the super chat. It means the world to me. Cooper, what do you want to say? I saw you on a stream yesterday. You were talking about Ndicka's height at 6'4", right? 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, something like that.
So yeah, should we be comparing him to Sven Botman, should we? Or
yeah, you can definitely compare the two because Botman can play on the left as well as in the middle. So yeah, they're different kind of players. I'd say Botman's more of an out-and-out defender that can play a bit, whereas Ndicka, to me, is somebody that can play a bit, and the defensive side is possibly not up there with some of the others, although his reading of the game is so damn good that he doesn't need to be your sort of crunching tackler or dominant in the air. He's still good in the air, and he's still good at tackling, but it's just his all-round ability. He's a proper footballer. He knows how to pass a ball. He's comfortable when put under pressure. He's got a bit of ball juggling skills when he's really put under pressure. It's quite impressive. I haven't seen if he's got one of these little sort of trademark shuffles that some defenders do to get out of trouble. I remember Jan Vertonghen used to do the pirouette sometimes in the middle to get away from people. It was always got a great cheer from the crowd, that one. But yeah, he's just comfortable on the ball. That's what it is. He can bring it. He glides forward with it. He's got goals in him. He's got assists in him. He can tackle. He can header. He's great under pressure. He's got searing pace for such a big bloke. What an addition to the team he'd be. And he's used to also playing with, as we mentioned earlier, he's played with Kostic. So he's used to having a very attack-minded wing-back on his side, which is what Perisic does. He's a total fit. It's a glove perfectly fit in the hand on that front. The only thing he's lacking is the years of experience at the moment. But looking at the Europa run, we dealt with any of the West Ham rubbish, and they are rubbish, by the way. West Ham rubbish. Yeah, I think he would be a very, very good signing. Trouble is, like a lot of us, I kind of pitch a bit of a tent for Bastoni because he's got the wow factor.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing insight, Jack, mate. I super appreciate the massive super chat, my man. You never have to do that. You know, I'll always call up your comments as well. I'll try with everybody else as well, mate. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. And mate, enjoy your hangover, man. Enjoy it. Coming from someone who's born on March the 18th, and I have to deal with the St. Patrick's Day on March the 17th. Hangovers are, well, it's not your birthday anymore, so you can enjoy the hangover the day after. I have to usually have my hangover on the birthday. But mate, I really appreciate it so much. Thank you, mate. Really, mate, means the world. And we've got another new member, Andy James. What's crack-a-lacking? This is insane generosity from the Spurs talk show, puppies and ponies around the world. 250 people on still watching. And Andy James, you're the latest member of the team. Can't wait to meet you, man, on the stream. Thank you so much for the support, my friend. It means the world. I want to now just quickly bring up Will Stewart's point. He says, due to the fact that defenders and average teams have to work harder, I tend to look at percentages when possible. And he adds Virgil van Dijk to his list so that it grounds his view. I've done that very thing. I've added Virgil van Dijk. And we are looking at per 90s here and percentages where possible. And interesting ones. I mean, Virgil van Dijk, I guess the context is he's in the Liverpool team who don't happen to have to pressurize too many players too often when they have the ball, because many teams don't have the ball that much. But Ianoma Udogie and Udinese has 16.7 pressures per 90.
I really think you should take him off the list, mate. It's just not a viable, really, comparison.
All right. Fair enough. See you later. You're done. Let's move. Oh no, I'm not sharing it. Wait a minute. I need to update it. Okay.
For a laugh, you could put in old Slabhead at Man United.
Oh, what a useless player that is! I can't understand. I can't understand the sport whenever I watch him play. I'm like, what? What? How did this happen?
I'll tell you what. I bet his stats come out all right.
Where have the others gone? What the hell? Is it because? Hang on a second. Virgil van Dijk. Him there. Put him there and get rid of him. Okay.
Hopefully.
Now we're working. Now we're cooking with gas. So, have we seen enough? You know what? These stats things are fantastic to look at, but they get pretty boring pretty quickly. So, just wondering whether or not we should. Is there anything else we want to talk about quickly on it? In terms of aerial duels, one, Ndicka smashes it. Your man, Adam.
Yeah,
he wins this one. And on percentage one basis, he's not quite as good as Virgil van Dijk, but he's at least winning more per game than Virgil van Dijk is. Koulibaly and Hincapie. I feel like have we lost someone? No, we haven't. Hincapie, Ndicka, and Koulibaly versus Van Dijk and Ben Davies. So in the air,
Botman's missing off the list, isn't he?
I took him off as well because.
All right, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to spend too much more time doing this. I want to get back to the conversation. Let's get back to the conversation. Are you happy? Are you happy with this stuff? I find it a little bit boring after a while.
Yeah, it basically is from what I can see, it's kind of it's done everything to convince me of what I already kind of felt in my heart, shall we say? So it's helped my brain to be able to be a little bit more convinced of what I was feeling, which is that Ndicka is seems to be the more exciting prospect now that we are looking past the likes of the Bastonis and the Guardiols of the world. Looking at not only is Ndicka ranking so highly on all of these, and he looks like he's a Koulibaly light, but he's like 22 years of age. He's got so much of a ceiling, and he's doing all the same things. He's actually more progressive than Koulibaly is as well, statistically. I think that I would be thrilled to see him come in the door.
Yeah,
it's a different kind of role. Koulibaly is always going to be the real, if you like, meathead stopper at the back. Yeah. He's the one that you just can't get through. Ndicka is the one that will glide forward with the ball, looking very graceful and with intent to join the attack. He's a really classy player. I like the look of him.
Yeah, let's hope there's weight to that to these transfer rumors.
All right, so at this point we have to ask some serious amounts of questions. Ready? Goodbye or goodbye?
Nice.
Goodbye or goodbye, ladies and gentlemen. In one is Mr. Ndicka. A goodbye or a goodbye? I'll come to
Goodbye
you first.
I'm going to go thumbs up and go for somebody else's well-known method of doing this.
Fair enough.
Yeah, goodbye for me.
Yeah, and Adam.
Yeah, 100%. Ndicka would be probably the best buy after the heaviest hitters.
And what about Koulibaly? Koulibaly.
I'll see him as the central the defender of the three, which would also be a bloody good buy. So let's get both.
So you want to get okay? Is that in place of Bremer?
Dyer?
No,
Koulibaly for Dyer and Ndicka instead of Davies.
But so you'd rather have Koulibaly over? Here we go. Hang on a second. Wait a minute. Would you rather sign Koulibaly or Gleison Bremer to be backup or in competition to Eric Dyer? And we'll come to you first, Kuba.
Replace.
And which one would you rather have?
Koulibaly instead of Dyer or
Koulibaly
or Bremer.
Or Ndicka instead of Davis?
No.
Koulibaly or Bremer to help support Dyer.
Oh, Bremer. Absolute monster of a bloke. And he'd be here for a longer time as well.
Exactly. Yeah. He's not aging out.
Then you could end up then with three great centre backs for 10 years.
And both
that would be insane.
Million, right?
That would be insane. Like Romero, Bremer, and Ndicka would be like outrageous.
Let's do it. Finish the stream. Let's just get on to your Levy now.
So for you, to be backup, to push Dyer to backup, of the choices, Koulibaly or Bremer. For you, Kuba, it's Bremer. For you also, Adam, it's Bremer?
Absolutely, 100%.
Similar money.
If we're doing blank checkbook.
No, but it's similar. It's similar money. Bremer's only going to
No. But if we were, I'd go for a different choice altogether. I mean, for captaincy as well, I'd love to see us get De Ligt from Juventus. But, I mean...
Well, he's only 15 million, isn't he?
De Ligt?
Oh, no, sorry, I'm thinking of De Vrij. Sorry, De Vrij.
De Vrij is decent. He's a good option as well because he's got a lot of experience and he's a talented player. Yeah, he's a good option. But De Ligt has clearly got the captaincy. He's got the captain's armband written all over him, really.
And he's much younger than De Vrij as well. De Vrij is another one that's aging out, whereas De Ligt is only, 25?
Can you see us getting one of, in the centre, like, forget De Ligt. I think that's not going to happen. Could you see us getting De Vrij for 15, Koulibaly for 30, or Bremer for 35? Could you see one of those three in a Tottenham shirt next season, realistically?
All three. It's not that much, is it? and it gives you
No,
depth.
it's not.
It gives you strength and depth and quality. It really does give you quality. It'll
I
be
don't see any of them actually doing it though. I don't see any of them in a Spurs jersey next season. And realistically speaking, if we're talking like not just your absolute, boner wish list, it's like the fact that Bremer almost certainly wants to stay in Italy is the only thing keeping him from coming. But he would be the best shot, except that I think he wants another 6 months there for the nationality thing.
Okay. And then on the would you rather front for the left-sided centre-back, given that on this show, with Will Stewart's help, we did a much more sophisticated review of Pau Torres, Bastoni, Botman, Lenglet, and Gvardiol. And then today we've done, because I got bored of it too quickly, a bit part comparison of the last three, Ndicka and Koulibaly, and who was the last one we did? And
Ndicka, Koulibaly.
What's the other guy's name?
Hincapie.
Hincapie. Of those 8 left-sided centre backs, which one would you rather have?
Who are we going first?
Adam, come to you first. Okay. Given that Bastoni's probably less likely, obviously Gvardiol's ridiculously unlikely. Of the rest, would you take Lenglet on a loan deal? Would you pay up for Ndicka? Would you pay up for the other guys? Who would you go for?
So are we saying that Gvardiol and Bastoni are not in the list?
They're out of the list.
Ndicka. Straight to number 1. After those two, Gvardiol is my number 1, far and away. Gvardiol would be sensational. But no, with those two out of the way, yeah, Ndicka.
Gvardiol and Bremer to go with Romero.
Yeah. That's the dream team. That is the dream team.
It is. It really is. For me, out of the ones mentioned though, Ndicka, I think he fits like a glove. He really does. The only thing that goes against him is the Premier League experience.
Yeah.
But you could say that with the others as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he ticks all the boxes. He really does. And I think what seals it for me is that kind of recovery pace that he has as well. He's a very quick player.
That's the funniest comment I've seen. Romero to link the Ndicka sounds a dodgy sentence. It does indeed. Nice work, Adam. Nice work, Mr. Phillips. I like that a lot. All right. Okay, so we're going to go for Ndicka on the left side of centre-back role of the rest. So you no longer want Clement Lenglet, Kuba?
Yeah, take him on a loan as well. Why not? You need cover. The better the cover, the better. Well, the better the better. Of course it is. But are we going to constantly rely on Davieson's Dyer as cover when we upgrade, or are we going to look to upgrade the cover as well? I think we upgrade the cover as well.
For this season, I think that Davies and Dyer are perfectly fine cover, to be honest. Like, I mean, again, Sean has already pointed out how few goals we conceded in the last 15 games of last season. I think that as cover for 2 brand new players, they're absolutely fine for this season.
Yeah, I mean, they're not ones you're going to panic about anymore like we used to. But I still think, why not bring in another one as well? If we got him on loan, Langley, he ticks a lot of the boxes as well. I think he's a better footballer than Ben Davies is. I don't think he's as good a defender as Dyer is, although Dyer has his moments as well.
He's looking for mad money though, Langley. His monthly, weekly, whatever it is, rate is apparently extortionate.
Oh, is it? Well, we could say that with Eriksen as well on the other end of the pitch. Rumours about him on 260k a week at Brentford, and he'd want the same with us.
No way.
Then we'd have to raise Harry Kane's
260 grand a week is what Brentford are willing to pay him.
He's just come back from Italy, don't forget. I mean, he was on good money with us, and then obviously went on to a bigger contract, you'd assume, in Italy. What's going to tempt him back? Yeah. Well, again, it's rumours, but I could believe he's on that.
260 grand a week for a man who's got a heart condition, or had a heart condition. Are you saying that was what he was signed for Brentford for 6 months on, or that's what they're offering him now?
I think that's what he's been on for the last 6 months. Could well be from a team like Brentford. That makes great sense because they're paying no transfer. Well, did they pay a transfer fee? No, they didn't. It's just a free transfer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you offset that lack of fee with the wages. It's good sense for an upgrade for Brentford. Amazing signing. For us, do we want to pay that amount for Eriksen, who's can do a job? Will it be as much as we want? There's question marks over it. I mean, I think I probably would go for it for a season because we need to fill the hole just to have that extra option. Even though I've just argued the rest of the show against the need for a cam, it's still nice to actually have one when you do want to change shape. You do need a player that specialises in that kind of thing. But we could get. I mean, if we got Eriksen back, we could look forward to those poor quality corners again, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Sonny stays on the corners. Sonny stays.
I was just going to say, with back to the Eriksen front again, though, isn't it? I think there's a hell of a lot of talented attacking midfielders out there. We shouldn't be.
Oh, well, let's go there quickly then. Last topic then. If I didn't know that, and Will's agreeing with you. 260 grand a week. Don't agree with that at all. I was under the impression that, he's a free transfer, and I get it that if you can't get him, you've got to go pay 15 million elsewhere. Therefore, he's can command the difference in his salary. But that would put him to the highest paid player in the squad, wouldn't it?
And then we'd have to raise Kane's salary as well because he's got it in his contract that he's the highest paid player.
So if it's not Eriksen, where do you go?
I'd go in for Frankie de Jong, steal him from Manchester United as well.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, I mean that's unlikely though, right? But like in reality, like where do you? If you don't want to pay, I mean, do you want to pay 260 grand a week to a player that's going to play 30-40% of games at most, but because you're not paying for the transfer fee, it doesn't make a difference? If you're paying 50 million for somebody else, or if you wanted to go for a Milinkovic-Savic, you're going to pay, 80 million, 90 million quid for him up front. And then you've also got to pay the guy 250 grand a week. But
yeah, I think
I'll just say yes to that straight away.
When it's a free transfer.
When it's Milinkovic-Savic, yeah,
he's
worth it. He's worth it.
When it's a free transfer, and you've got the Christian Eriksen possibly now playing at the height of his powers, and he's just he's played for an Inter side that we're doing incredible things, and you're not going to be paying that sign-on fee, so it's literally just the wage. Harry Kane, we're dying for Harry Kane to sign a new contract anyway. And he's going to end up getting paid more than Eriksen wants, because he's going to when he signs on the dotted line, he's going to be looking for more money than he's on now. So I think it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay. All right. So we've come to the conclusion then that Ndicka is the preferred option, right? Left-sided centre-back of all the guys that we're currently being touted with, of everybody, of all of the 8 guys that we've reviewed, somewhat in more detail than others, but of the 8 people we've reviewed, Ndicka is currently front-runner as the most realistic option to fill in the left-sided centre-back. But Clement Lenglet on a loan deal is still someone that most people that I've spoken to are willing to take on as a loan option, given that Gvardiol and Bastoni are unlikely to be or just unrealistic to happen this summer. And Pau Torres seems to be the least on people's radars. But some people in the comments have said they want him, but most people say that they don't, given the stats we've looked at. And in the central centre-back position, Koulibaly is someone that a lot of people would have, but Bremer on choice would be the number one option. And I don't see why we don't go after him. The fact that Inter Milan are stalling, fuck them. Let's just go round the obstacle and get our business done and see what that happens. And see what happens.
There's a little bit of uncertainty with the likes of PSG at the moment, isn't there? What they're going to be doing with transfer in and outs. Yeah. I just wondered if somebody like Verratti might become available, because he'd certainly fit the bill as well.
But where does he play?
Well, he can play lots of central midfield positions, but I'd say he's more attacking inclined than a lot. He's a quality player. Maybe. I'm just trying to think a bit outside the box, players that might become available that we're not being constantly linked with. I think scour the Dutch league. There's always great players in the Eredivisie that have, at some point are ready to come and make a mark in the likes of the Premiership. We're linked with Antony at the moment. He'd certainly give us a creative spark up front, a sort of unpredictable, explosive kind of spark. He'd give him a free role to drift into the middle as well. Why not? See what happens. There's other options. It doesn't have to be Eriksen, does it?
It certainly doesn't. No, 100%. But I think of the 8 centre-backs that we've looked at for the left-sided spot, and a couple of them might bleed into the central centre-back spot, we should be able to find one of them or two of them that will fit our mould and will develop and be able to put Ben Davies and Eric Dyer into their next space, which will be as a squad player at best. Guys, we're going to wrap it up in a split second, but we want to just take a little bit of a second to say thank you to everyone in the comments. I want to call out the people that have become new members today. Hollywood Hotspur's a new member. So is Cratch. So is Chris Agomba, Mark Cousins, and Andy James. Absolutely amazing support shown to you guys. Can't thank you enough. Also, thank you to Jack Kanicki on his birthday for the big super chat. Means the world to me, guys. We're going to be back tomorrow and also on every day next week, as we try to do this week with content whenever it flows, wherever it goes. We're going to bring it. Thank you so much to Adam and Kuba. Adam, do you have a channel that, or your Instagram or your website for your movie stuff? Anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, nice one, mate. So I've been working on a few other people's projects at the moment, kind of just producing in the film industry. But if anyone wants to check out what I do, Wild Stag Productions is the name of my company. You can go to wildstagproductions.com, or on social media, it's Wild Stag Media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then my baby, the biggest thing going on that I'm trying to sell to the industry at the moment.
Wild Stag
Media, yeah.
Wild Stag Media on all the socials.
On the socials, yeah, that's it. And then Follow the Dead is the feature film that I finished a couple of years ago, and we're in the process of getting that on a streaming service and selling it at the moment. And you can check that out on followthedead.com. And again, it's Follow the Dead Movie on all the social medias.
So
please check me out.
The Dead Movie on all the socials, ladies and gentlemen. Please, Adam is he doesn't have a channel, but he's absolutely phenomenal with his opinions and his style. Brilliant and easy to listen to. Always makes a hell of a lot of sense. Thank you so much, Adam. I really appreciate you coming on as ever, my friend. And cheers, Kuba, Kubi Groovy, the man, the myth, the audacity-driven man with the numbers in his name. Who are we going for today, buddy? Who are we going for?
Always big up the Bob Spur. Also, Bobby Kay and his lads on the 3 Spurs boys, and the coffee shop. Ben Kaufman.
You can't throw out everyone.
I'm doing it. Don't forget, I'm big name guest, mate. I'll do what I want.
He's not Cuba 22. He's Cuba 99.
That's right. Exactly. Thank you, Adam. See, this man knows what he's talking about. Less Sean, more about the guests, please.
100%. All right, boys. There you go. There's the channels for you. What was the other one? Oh, did you say Shelfside Spurs?
Yeah, Shelfside Spurs as well. Irish Hotspur.
Fucking hell.
Spurs to Asian.
No, you know what? That's it.
Mari.
I'm doing two only. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the link.
Don't forget Sava.
No, everyone else you can find everybody else another time. You get one show. You get one pop. You get one pop a pop. Okay, that's it. It's madness. Ladies and gentlemen, there's still 200 people watching. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, please hit the like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell. We're almost at 200. We're 189 likes. If there's anyone left that hasn't hit the like button yet, before you disappear, please do it. Get us to 200. It means the world to me. Hope you had a good show and hope you had a good time spending the afternoon with Kuba and Adam and myself. Love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. And as always, guys, bye-bye. Oh, wait a minute.